watching now.
Welcome to Legends of the Drowned Isles, the world of Omatia, a D&D 5th edition game that we run at home here and have run for about a year and a half. This is the first time we're kind of live streaming. The world is made up of, as far as the characters are aware, 55 islands, but they're rather strange islands which are mostly surrounded by very dense sand. It's too loose to walk over and too thick to, I guess, swim over. There is some water that connects some of the islands, but most of the islands are connected by bridges. The 55 islands, the whole game began on a single island called Vater Dren, which represents the two major cities. We're going to be spending a fair amount of time in Vatur today. Dren is the dwarven city in the mountain nearby. I'm Mark. I'm the GM for this madness. And if the technology doesn't work, it's also my fault. We'll hopefully get through that. I want to introduce my players, starting on my left.
Hi, I'm Jody. I'm going to be playing Klaarg. He's the half-orc fighter rogue who's currently in Vatur from Aquain and currently investigating the Vatur underworld while we do our downtimes.
I should explain that this is going to be an odd session. This is part 5 of a hopefully 5-part downtime series where each of the characters are actually in different locations doing some downtime activities. But it is part 5 of us trying to do this quickly. Each one has done almost a month, not quite a month, a couple of weeks. So the game session's going to be a little weird. There won't be as much character interaction perhaps as there will be in normal sessions. Sorry, I just want to throw that in.
My name's Marie. I play Elzera. She is a wood elf druid, and currently she is in her cabin that she ran away from home to with her twin brother. And yeah.
Okay. Next.
Hey. I failed the sticky note quest. Anyway. So my character is Zackis, half-elf wizard, and he's 24 years old now, but he still thinks he knows everything. So he's fairly fresh for a half-elf. And he works at the Great Library of Vatur, as originally he was an archivist. I know.
Yeah, archivist.
That was the second promotion.
I think junior or...
Well, he's in the archiving department.
He was cataloging, then he got promoted
yeah.
to being an archivist. Now he's senior archivist. Anyway, that was going to be later, but yeah, he was originally a reclusive character. He just wanted to learn as much magic as possible, had his nose in the books all the time. It wasn't until Miley Emekir, his supervisor and Elzera's cousin, pretty much forced them to go outside to see the world on a mission, and since then there's been danger, dying, magic, promotions, and probably more danger.
And lots of books.
Yes, definitely lots of books.
Of books.
And he's made some new friends.
I'm Pat. I'm playing Amrûn Elisar, currently a cleric, formerly a warlock. Really, he's a magically empowered socialist. He just wants to make the world a nicer place.
That description kind of always throws me a bit, but it is fairly true, actually. So, where shall we begin? Well, why don't we begin with a little bit of a recap for people.
Are we going to get to redo our descriptions next time? Because mine was, like, totally not ready.
Over time, we'll figure out how to tell people what this is all about. We won't do a description every episode. We'll see if we can see it's already one person fan of the magical socialism. So, I've written a bit of a recap of the last session. I always swear these are supposed to be short and somehow they get longer. I'll try to narrate this quickly. Elzera helped her father recover from an attack and discovered that the arrow that he was struck with appeared to be a living magical thing that injects poison. Not so much a magical arrow, and that it is still potent. She also hides as a cat to avoid her dead fiance's brother, her dead fiance being Riarden, the brother being Milo, who has heard that Liari was injured. While hiding as a kitten, she learns that Milo has been working as a woodsman and has heard strange things in the woods, even seeing strange shadowy figures. Later, Elzera drags her brother back to her cabin, remotely in the woods, to grab a few things she's going to need if she's going to move back home to protect her father. She's surprised to find out that about a dozen animals have moved into her cabin for security. To her shock as well, the chest that contained all the memories and things of her dead fiancé is found to be entirely empty of anything. Meanwhile, Zackis and Nala, Fenkin Cabradon, follow Vrinwick to one of the forbidden areas of the library, one which Zackis has failed to catalog on his journeys before because it was hidden by powerful illusion, and then contained by 4 different trapped locks. Vrinwick disarms the door, telling them that Imral told him specifically how to find and disarm the traps. The inside of this forbidden area is a large room devoid of any furniture. The floor is a gray marble, and carved into it are the remains of the destroyed teleportation circle. Nala and Zackis start to work and soon learn that the circle has unusual properties, things they cannot yet decipher. Also in Vatur, Klaarg continues his work with the Rose and Thorn, learning a little more from Bazo about the organization. Most of the work is small things for which Klaarg cannot see a direct purpose, but believes that they are all related. In addition, he receives a note through his debt box from Zendathius. A collection must be encouraged from Corn Woodcomb to the amount of 1,200 gold pieces. Toward the end of the month, Bazo has Klaarg go on a most unusual mission to attend a series of plays by a local upstart playwright named Illic Throwhammer at the freshly restored Grand Grey Owl Theatre. Having 2 tickets, Klaarg takes Zackis with him to the 2 performances, Rockbrook Nights and Fall in Rockbrook. Although most of the audience seems only to notice the surface of the plays, a series of improbable follies involving dim-witted or greedy citizens in the town of Rockbrook, Klaarg and Zackis draw different conclusions based on their experiences in the sunken temple. Contained within the play seems to be a story analogous to the ones presented in murals in the temple, about a fair foreign maiden who has influence over the town, who falls in love with a similarly influential figure called, in the play, the Summer Knight. The maiden brings in others to the town from her own foreign lands, despite the wishes of the Summer Knight, and these others begin to whisper into the ears of the dull villagers, often turning them against each other. In the end, to save the village, the Summer Knight beheads the maiden, and the others she has brought to the village disperse through the audience. Klaarg, ever on the watch for something of interest that might indicate the reasons that Bazo had sent him to these plays, notices that when the actors swept through the audience, there was at least one person who was no longer in their seat. Chasing after them, Klaarg loses them, but discovers that the playhouse has trapdoor exits. Later that night, Zackis and Klaarg part ways. Zackis walks back to the library, but along the way begins to see shadows following alongside. He hears a terrifying attack up ahead and rounds the corner to find 2 city guard cut down gruesomely, a vague, shadowy shape hovering over them. The shadow engulfs the bodies, and Zackis hears the sound of bones cracking. Turning quickly to run, he sees the shadow changing shape, shifting between man and beast. Meanwhile, Klaarg has come to one of the 3 inns he knows Bazo should be at to give a report and ask questions. He only just begins his talk when Zackis bolts through the door, chased by the shadow in the shape of an enormous, horse-sized dog. Bazo leaves by the back door, and the shadow smashes through the barred door, the front door, meeting a powerful collection of magic missiles on the other side. Surprised and injured, the creature retreats, leaving both Klaarg and Zackis with a memory that will later turn into a realization, which I'm kind of giving you this now. The shadows may now take flesh to make themselves solid and monstrous. Before you'd seen them mostly as semi-substantial shadows. Amrûn continues to discuss his philosophies of Pluxia within the northern town of Farhaven. Away from the discouraging eyes of the Reeve, he asks Lord Mayor Bob Barton to arrange a meeting with Valencia Ottenbar, the true power behind everything that happens in Farhaven. At that meeting, he tells her about Cleesac's offer of protection, and she tells him of her concerns about the overt expressions of religion in the city, such as the symbolic fountain. Amrûn also offers her the crown of Lord Telmar, the dwarven lord who once held the lands where Auntie Bonetwitch made her haven. And we'll begin from there. Again, these are weird sessions. Who wants to go first? Who's got a particular moment that they want to start with? I have something for each of you, but if there's someone who wants to jump in, if not, we can start with Amrûn.
Okay.
Towards the end of this month, you are intending to travel back down to Vatur to leave the city of Farhaven behind you, at least for now. What is your intention toward the numerous people who have expressed some interest in your work? Are you going to ask them to come with you, or are you going to accept them to come with you? What is your plan?
Well, I have to I let them know well ahead of time that my plan is to head down to the temple in the south to rebuild it, what needs rebuilding. And if any want to come with me, they're welcome. I will make sure to get them passage down. I will be down there for about 2 months before I return to Vitor. I will continue my teachings there. There is at least one other person in Aquain, south of the temple, who I promised to teach, so I'll be doing that as well. So anyone who wants to come along and see the temple, anyone who wishes to help restore it, I said more than rebuild it, I will make sure that they are paid for it. And I let them know that that apparently Farhaven is under a religious neutrality clause that my presence may be disturbing. So if they wish to stay here or return here, that's fine. They can go where they wish, but they may not want to be too high volume about Polexia, as it seems to cause issues. If they do want to come with me, I'll say I'm going to be leaving at the end of the month. Anyone wants to can travel a week later, because I have to spend a week in Vitor getting some stuff done. But if they can meet me in Vitor in a week's time, then I will arrange for passage down south.
Okay. The collection of people who've become your fairly regular audience, not everybody makes it every single time, is composed of, at least I may have said something different, but I've actually got numbers in front of me this time. I've got 11 humans, I've got 6 half-elf, and of the main group, and 1 tiefling who joins later on, who introduces herself as Excellence.
Okie dokie.
But most of the people that you've attracted are the children of visitors to Farhaven, so their families are still here for the moment. Many of them their families are wealthy, whether they personally have much wealth or not. Most of them have not done anything, as you kind of come to know them, most of them haven't done anything like hard work. Some of them are simply waiting to inherit the family business. A few of them have started working and apprenticing within the work. There's a couple of people who are, and there's a couple of relatives here as well, brothers and sisters, or a couple of brothers. One odd one is there's a half-elf who is the half-brother of a human who's there. They share one parent in common. But one younger one, a young man named Ilum, who has given off an air of interest, but also dubiousness. He's very interested to hear what you have to say. The debates have been lively. He would have said, at least at one point, that this is much more interesting than the boring things my parents would rather have me do. And in fact, he's from Aquain originally, although the business has moved out of Aquain since then. There are people that are from Aquain, from Vitor, from nearby Shearwater even, whose parents are there to help sell things to them. So there's a bit of class mixing. Some people from a few of the northern islands, one from Greyland, for example, to the sort of north east of Vitor. But Ilum in particular takes issue with the notion of them rebuilding the temple. Surely there must be people you can pay for that sort of work.
No, if no one here is interested in helping, then yes, I will find people who are able to restore it. That was my. That is my thought from the beginning. Merely if some people are interested in assisting with that, then they should know that they will be compensated as anyways. I'm not looking for free work from anyone.
My father says we're not likely to leave for at least another 2 weeks. The snows are simply too strong. How do you propose to get out of this place? Do you have some sort of magical means of travel? I only have some mere horses, and even those would be on loan from my father.
No, I have a couple of draft horses and a sledge. That's how I got here. Going further down, we'd be part of a convoy.
How big is your sledge, by the way?
It could be reasonably sizable, but I mean, it's not going to hold like a dozen people or anything. It's got a couple of draft horses hauling it, so they can pull a ton or more. But for physical size, it was just something he bought cheaply. So.
Okay. There is some concern. There are a few people that want to go with you, but they're very concerned about the weather, and they don't have their own means of transport. Are you willing to take on passengers, basically?
I mean, I could take a few with me when I go. They'll end up having to wait around in Vatur for a week, so they might want to bring money or provisions or whatever to stay there. But yeah, I can take a few. I mean, if we can hook another sledge to the back of it, I'm pretty sure my horses can pull 2 of them easily enough.
Make an animal handling roll.
At advantage. Or is this a knowledge thing?
This is a knowledge
Okay,
thing.
so the gloves don't help.
No.
19 plus... What was the stat for that? Wisdom, yay, 22.
22? The horses could definitely haul a second sledge on the back. The problem with being is most of the trip down to Vatur is downhill. And you remember how dangerous it was just when it was raining. Right now, the snows have been heavy, and a second sledge would be very, very dangerous to try to take on.
Well, for the most part, if it's heavy snow, it's getting them moving that's going to be difficult. You tend not to slide down in very, very thick snow.
It would be a matter of whether the control can be maintained.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's also on a ledge, right?
You slide sideways and heavy stuff.
Yeah, you think you can do it, but it is something that is a risk.
Mm-hmm. Well, how many people want to go down first?
The first one that steps up actually is Excellence. Excellence is a young female tiefling. Seems to be...
Should have brought her picture.
Actually, I have it right here.
Okay.
Who is eager, almost too eager, to want to prove herself. She's taken up some of your arguments without you even asking for any support, and she's often been kind of a cheerleader in many of them, not entirely understanding all of the arguments, but eager to join in on them and to support.
I mean, like, how many total were wanting to head out with me? Because that'll determine whether I even need a second one.
Let's see. Ilum is not. Ilum is going to try to meet up with you in Vatur if his parents are traveling in that direction at the right time.
Sure.
It looks like about 4 of them are interested in going.
Okay.
The 2 human brothers, Arzan and Taylor. Or sorry, not Taylor. Arzan and LotDI.
Sorry, what was that?
Yeah, I know. I got to find it myself here. Arzan, Arzen. He's a son of a wealthy aristocrat, and Otnel, Otnel, his younger brother. He seems to be much more bookish, whereas his brother's a little more brazen. Both of them don't seem like they have very soft hands. The only real pain that Otnel's probably felt is a paper cut. Arzan's probably been into a few fights here and there. He's got a very bold stature.
Okay.
Along with them will be, let's see, where are we here? I mentioned Taylor. Yes, Taylor and Urena. Now, Urena is Yrenha. Urena is a half elf, and Taylor is a human. And the two of them, their parents are into metalsmithing. In particular, her or their mother is known for being a good swords maker.
Okay. Male or female?
Taylor, Urena is female, and Arzen and Otnel are both male.
Yeah. Yeah, I got that from the brothers.
I didn't know if I'd said it properly. So,
Okay.
and then excellence is a fifth on top of that, the
Okay.
female tiefling.
We can probably fit that many on the one sledge, actually. I mean, I'll be driving, they'll be sitting up front. I'm figuring it's basically wagon-sized. It just doesn't. It has runners instead of a couple of wheels.
Normal wagon.
Yeah, but yeah, a sled for the wintertime, basically.
Yep.
They do have some things they're going to take with them.
Sure.
Each of them will have basically a small trunk's worth of stuff.
Okay. And I make sure that there's food for the trip. Although, to be honest, if they don't mind bland food, I can just make them for us. But one thing actually he doesn't do is he does not actually. He probably does go to Shearwater to help out with the food thing before he leaves. But he unless the Flamekeeper there approaches him, he doesn't go out of his way to talk to him.
At this point, you have no idea there's any food issue. Within Farhaven, there's been no
Okay, I thought
indication
that
of it.
started earlier.
It's starting now for everyone else, but Farhaven is well stocked.
Then I don't go.
So-
Unless there's some mention that food is needed in Shearwater, he doesn't
Yeah,
go.
unfortunately at this point, and for those of you just joining us, it is an extended long winter. This was a plot I had 4 months ago. I did not know we'd be living through it in real life.
Yeah, it's pretty nice out there now.
But it's true. At this point in the world of Ometia, or at least in the Drowned Isles, food for everyone else is starting to become a bit more scarce. We'll move from there, and we'll get back to that in a moment. Moving from there to who wants to go next? Anyone in
I don't mind
particular?
going next.
Okay. So, do we want to pick up right from the house, or do we want to move on a little further from there?
Just a quick note on what I do in the house after.
Okay.
I pick up anything of value.
Okay. What would be of value? What sort of things would you be
Like
looking
any
at?
books that I have, any
Okay.
like the few jewelry things that I have.
The alchemy kit. I'm
The
assuming.
alchemy kit, yeah. Like anything that wasn't in that trunk. Like just like the little knickknacks that have meaning that I wouldn't want a raccoon to get its paws on.
Okay. Are you flushing out the animals?
There's like a part of me that wants to like bring them with me.
That's being a druid. Yes.
But like I know that that's not a good idea. But what I do offer them is I offer them to tie a ribbon around their neck, and if they stick around while it's done, I'll make sure that no hunters hunt them.
Okay. All right. Make a persuasion roll. I'm assuming you essentially talk to the animals in their own language
Yes.
and try to convince them.
Well, that is an 8.
An 8. Most of the animals, especially the smaller ones, are not willing to have the extra thing around their necks. They know that any sort of sign of color or light will make them a target. That's what they believe. That's what they assert. The bear that was in there doesn't care. It's like, sure, like go ahead, and kind of offers its paw.
Cool.
One of the raccoons though does actually agree, and it's the one that you saw was basically the burglar,
2-year-old.
the rogue of the animals. Does also agree. But basically, it's only those two. The rest are basically, well, if we can't stay here, then we're going to find better holes and hide there. One of them, a small, nervous squirrel, kind of comes up to you and looks indecisive. It's sort of like, you know, the sort of shaky nature that a squirrel already has, but imagine it kind of, you know, rubbing its hands in kind of uncertainty. And then kind of tugs away at your pants leg to get your attention. Can you make it sure that none of them hunt us? I'm not afraid of the people, they're too slow, but the other ones are scarier.
I can't do anything about that right now. We're trying to figure out what they are.
scary? Does that help?
Yeah.
Tall and short? Sometimes both?
I've seen them before.
Loud and quiet, too.
Yeah.
Wherever they go, it seems to make the trees go quiet.
Yeah. I will make a little area for animals that'll be safer, I'm hoping. I will
Okay.
do everything that I can.
Outside of the cabin? Or?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm gonna cast the like regular plant growth and make like a circle, like
Okay.
not a cage, but like a little pen type
Okay.
thing that's
A
like
refuge
enclosed.
that they can come
Yeah.
back to. Okay. Yeah, the animals are a bit alarmed to hear the trees snapping and cracking as they grow, unusually early for them. Even the trees, you kind of get the sense of, oh bother, what now? As you kind of weave out this space for them. But they do run in there and kind of check it all out. The squirrel, in particular, is kind of running upside down and around everything in there, kind of checking it all out. You're pretty sure that it covered the entire area in 0.2 seconds. Or at least a blur of squirrel. The speed of squirrel. Okay, and you're grabbing those things.
And
Your brother Ezek is trying to help you, but doesn't really know what to grab. And every once in a while, you have to tell him, no, that's just part of the cabin, or yes, don't make sure that it doesn't leave behind.
yeah.
He's guessing at it, and about 50% of the time, he's right.
Yeah, like anything that if anybody were to come in, they would take.
Okay.
I take with me.
Okay.
And some of it I do put in the chest because.
The lock was not damaged either.
Yeah.
On the chest.
Yep. I'm gonna have to deal with that. But Elzera kind of has a moment, feels in the chest when that happens, and then just, I can't deal with this right now. I need to prioritize and kind of, yeah.
Okay.
That's what
So you're starting to compartmentalize.
Yep.
Okay. Your brother, every once in a while, just sort of stops you and kind of makes sure you're okay. Does a little check-in with you. At a couple of points, he just silently grabs around your shoulders and gives you a big hug and kind of, we'll get through this. It'll be all right.
I don't know what happened. I haven't opened that in 13 years. Not
Well,
since we closed it.
You don't think any of them did it, and he looks around at the animals that are still kind of scurrying around.
The lock doesn't look disturbed at all.
And you're sure that that's the right box?
It's the only other box.
He kind of looks around at the bare room. Okay, fair point. But
I mean,
It's
I
been
have
13.
this one.
it's been 13 years, and you have been away for a while.
But nothing else was disturbed.
I mean, what was in there? Why would anybody take it?
It's literally like letters and clothes and his wedding band.
So, nothing of... I can't say nothing of value because it means a lot to you, but I mean...
Nothing that would be worth anything to anyone else.
I don't think anybody's bothered the cabin, although hunters do come out here from time to time. We've told them to kind of keep away. I've told them.
Yeah.
It's not entirely a secret. I know you didn't want your want father to know, but he wouldn't have been able to find his way here anyway.
Yeah.
But other than the ring, was there anything that was distinctive? I can ask around. There's not a lot of people stealing stuff around here. We pretty much know all the neighbors, and well, I mean, you remember.
Yeah. No, it was mainly just like letters and
You
little
don't
things like that.
think it was Milo, do you?
I mean, I don't see why.
I mean, he seems to be okay now. It was rough after Riordan died, but he seems to be adjusting.
I don't know.
Well, I'm here for you. Whatever you need. Whatever I can do.
Thank you. I hug him.
Okay. After you pack all that stuff up, are you just moving back to the house?
Not
Back to town.
permanently, but yeah.
Okay. So you take yourself back to Wellstone.
Yeah. Make sure the door is locked and like
Okay.
I bring the one raccoon and the bear with me.
Okay. The raccoon is kind of curious and kind of nervous. It's definitely been to town before, not usually accompanied or unless being shown the way out of town, perhaps. And you get this impression that you won't even have to necessarily use the speak with animals, but you get the impression that it saw you turn into a bear and Ezek riding you, and it keeps looking over at the bear expectantly. And the bear just sort of trods along, kind of not even noticing. And every once in a while, the raccoon kind of goes up to the bear and he puts one paw as if to climb on top, and the bear just snorts and looks at him, and he backs off.
It's like that video going on.
So, you get back to Wellstone. Even though it's only been really a few hours since you left, your tracks are already being a bit obscured. The snow has continued at a heavy pace, and the town of Wellstone, as quiet and sleepy as it normally is, seems even more subdued somehow. The gray in the clouds a little darker than even what you remember leaving it. But you get back to the house. You smell food, and you see your father up and moving. Even though, and this is basically the next day, even though the effects of the potion pretty much have worn off at this point, he's more than back to normal. You suspect not a small bit of this is due to the fact that you're here now, and he's having a hard time even concealing that fact. But you smell a delightful smell of food as you come in, and realize that he's been cooking all day. There's fresh bread that's been baked. There's a full meal. There is meat that has been cooked as well, but he's also brought out some of the stored vegetables they've kept.
I do bring the bear and the raccoon like to the house.
Okay.
And get them something to eat.
Okay. The bear kind of just sort of waddles over and falls down beside the stairs. It's not really meant to be awake. It got disturbed and is still having a hard time. The raccoon, however, is kind of like looking in the doorway and then kind of looking around to make sure it's not being spotted. And then you can see it's making plans to try to make its break into the house.
And then I do the same thing. I make them an enclosure area on the edge of town.
Okay. There's a few people passing by dragging sledges themselves of one who's gotten a deer that he was out hunting, dragging that back. You get a few odd looks because people know the house, but you and your mother haven't been here for a while. You know in particular you haven't been, but you know your mother also just sort of travels all the time, so she's not likely to have been back. You do get a few strange looks, kind of creating this pen out front, or the shelter out front.
It's probably like out back where the greenhouse is, like
Okay.
beside there.
All right. Even then, hearing the trees crashing, there'll be a few people going and investigating it. The greenhouse is shut down for the winter. It's got the snow banked up on the sides. You suspect that if you go inside, and you haven't been inside yet, but you suspect that seedlings have already been planted, although the sun hasn't been strong yet. You can tell the building itself is a bit warm. Make an insight check with advantage.
Well, it's a 4 and a 1.
Okay.
So 6 total.
Okay. Over dinner, you're sitting there as the three of you. Again, a sight that fills you with a lot of memory. The fourth chair being empty, which you know would be your mother's chair. There's a lot of emotion that floods back in that moment. Memories of childhood, memories of growing up a bit, memories of sometimes another guest being seated at that table, one who became to be her just as like the rest of the family. And those memories are causing you every once in a while to just sort of phase away from reality for a little bit. There's a safety and there's a security, but also an internal dialogue that you're having with yourself. And there's a bit of tension at the table. Your father seems to be smiling. Your brother is looking over at you every once in a while with concern, but laughing at your father's terrible jokes.
Just as terrible.
And, you know, reveling in stories that you've probably heard a few times yourself. Stories when your father was younger and all the different things he used to get up to. Even a couple of times when your mother was saving him, which eventually led to their falling in love. Quite literally, he was the damsel in distress in that relationship. But there's a tension that you feel at the table. You're not sure where it's coming from, and not sure what it is, but there's something that isn't familiar. Later on that night, are you taking your old room back?
Yeah.
Okay. It's more or less the same way you left it. Even dust-free. And you kind of get the impression that one of your two siblings, either your father or your brother, is a father or sibling? Anyway. Your father or your brother has come in here on occasion and cleaned it up. Your father lingers by the door and wishing you a good night. It's good to have you here. I hate the circumstances that finally brought you back to town, but it's good to have you.
Yeah. It's weird to be back.
I can understand that.
So.
But your brother says you're doing well in the tour when he's seen you there.
Yeah. Yeah. I think the traveling really helped.
Good. Good. Just try to keep yourself out of danger. That's all I ask. Something.
You too.
Well, I don't do dangerous things. They just sort of happen.
Just please don't go wander off alone.
Oh, I'm fine. I know these woods like the back of my hand. When I got a little outside the woods and shot by an arrow, that's what went wrong. I was fine up to that point. I would have made it back in a day or two. Mostly.
Sure. Let's go with that.
Your brother's been taking care of me.
That's good.
Have you heard from your mother recently?
No.
No.
No, not since the move.
Yes, the mood. He kind of comes down and comes inside and sits down on the bed beside you. I've been wanting to ask you about that.
Mm-hmm.
Your mother didn't really tell me all much of what happened. I didn't really understand most of it anyway, and I'm fine with that.
Yeah.
There's a lot of things I don't understand. Plants I understand. But those things that came, he kind of looks around as if, you know, kind of looking to see if anybody's listening or looking, watching, or just that sort of self-consciousness when you think you're kind of telling someone a secret. I've seen them here, near the town.
Yeah, that's what I think shot you.
That's what I was afraid of. I mean, shadows moving through the woods, that's something you see all the time. There's bears and wolves and all kinds of things, and generally they're scared off by a bell. I don't like the idea of those wood nothings here. For me.
Neither do
As more
I.
than anyone else.
Neither do I. Like, even when we went back to my cabin, like, the animals broke in because they thought it was because I was safe and able to ward them off. They thought it would be a safe place.
There's a moment of puzzlement that crosses his face when you mentioned the animals broke in, but then there's also sort of you get the impression that he's kind of thinking back to some of the stories he told about him and your mother, and kind of just shakes his head, kind of, yeah, that's probably what happened. He's, over the many years between you and your brother, you've probably told him in particular every story that can be told. Half the time probably making it up a bit. And you're pretty sure that all the time he believed you. But for this one moment you're kind of thinking, wait, did he actually know all along and he was just agreeing because you were his kids? I'm not really sure. He puts his hand on your leg. I'm really happy you're here. How long will you be staying?
I don't know. I don't know.
I shall cherish every day. And we can pick up with some of your lessons. You were doing okay on some of those things. Can't really tell one side of some plants from the other, I'm sure, but we'll get better with that.
Yeah. Probably. I hug him.
Okay.
And something that I do is I take out the opal that I have
Okay.
and cast Scrying on the hag that was not Hoarfrost.
The hag that was not Hoarfrost. Okay. Just quickly look up scrying here. See what we're going to have.
It is page 273.
Yeah, terrific.
Somebody's
It's
ready.
like you planned this. All right, let's quickly look up. All right.
I got twist pops.
So you've got the opal. All right. You have met the target. That's good.
Yes.
You do not know the target well. You do not have a connection to the target.
Now, question: was there not a flower that, when we made the deal, that grew on my fur?
There was, I believe, yes.
Would it be reasonable that the druid would have kept that?
You could have kept it, yes, but it wouldn't be a connection to her.
It would not be a connection to her. Perfect.
In the same way, the things that you create aren't connections necessarily to you. Just to be fair,
Yeah.
this could work in both directions and
Yep.
be very bad. Okay, so I believe that she has to make a wisdom save.
Yep.
All right, no modifier. So what is my target?
15.
15. Okay. I mean, I can roll. Downtime. Okay. Okay. You do not have a sense of her. I'm just trying to make sure I get all the effects here. Yeah. So yeah, you gaze into the opal, expecting to see some reflection that is not your own.
Oh no, I am completely expecting this to not work.
And as you use this spell, which there's probably a little bit of apprehension, because the last time you used an effect like this was not entirely under your control. It was the potion that Salazar had made, which allowed you to see at that point Mylee.
The crazy wacky potions.
The crazy wacky potions. But this time, having some knowledge and having seen that effect, you're kind of able to replicate the magic. But as you pour forth the magic into the stone, instead of getting that familiar sense of leaving your body and entering some other place, it simply stops as if nothing is happening. There are some things that could cause that to be. Simply a powerful spellcaster of her own can cause that to happen.
You expected it not to work.
Okay. You go to bed that evening
Yep.
and relax. We'll move on to Klaarg for a moment.
Sure.
You catch up to Bozo.
Yeah.
He made his escape from that particular establishment, but has two others which he frequents as a regular meeting place. And I believe that you stayed, or did you leave with him that time?
Left after him.
Left after him, okay.
Yeah.
That's right, he was nowhere in sight by the time you got outside. So you catch up to him there, and he's already, and basically it would be another night. He wouldn't have shown up that night anywhere else. He's gone to ground, gone to hidden.
Mm-hmm.
But another night you wander into another one of those places and see that he is entertaining the crowd as always. The pattern you've seen from Bozo the Sage is that he tends to go places where people have concerns. People have questions. And it doesn't seem like he has any particular topic that he knows any more of. He just seems to know a lot about everything. And each night walks away with a handy sum of coin. Make an insight roll.
Certainly. How about a 12?
12. You can't follow half of the things he's saying, but he says everything with confidence, and everybody believes him.
Hmm.
But you find him there, and spotting you coming through the door, He kind of waves you over to a chair nearby, wraps up what he's doing, and then tells people that he needs to take a break.
Okay.
Then comes to sit down with you.
I'll make sure that our table has drinks.
Okay. He eagerly sits in one of the chairs and takes a hold of the tankard of ale that's offered him. Being smart is a thirsty work. I'm always thirsty. How about you?
I'm rarely hungry.
Well, different tastes. I'm sure we can. He snaps his fingers, and you can see serving a boy coming out with a plate of food. It's like he kind of had been waiting to deliver this for a while.
Right.
And there's in fact 2 bowls of a hearty stew. Make a perception check.
23.
Okay. Yeah, the stew is very spicy,
Okay.
and as you're eating through it, you kind of realize that there's more flour and water in this stew than almost anything else. There are a few root vegetables in there. You found 1 piece of meat.
No.
It's got some flavor to it, probably because an extensive amount of pepper was used and probably too much salt. But it's pretty thin nonetheless.
I'll pluck the meat, the portion out with a spoon and say, "I'm the lucky one tonight," and consume it.
Bazo, cheers to that. Let's all be lucky for once. Speaking of luck, I've heard that, well, that door was unlucky, but everyone else seemed to survive okay.
Oh?
Oh yes, the door was absolutely destroyed, but whatever that was which made an untimely entrance into the little discussion we were having seems to have not been seen for a little while.
I've heard rumors of strange shadows.
Hmm.
Some of them are being reported in the sewers below the city.
Shadows, and a few people have gone missing.
Yep.
Most disturbing. This is something I do not know, and I do not like things I do not know.
I have a friend who may be able to shed some light. I can look into it for you.
I knew you were useful for a lot of things. That's good, that's good. In the meantime, I do have something specific for you.
All right.
I'd like you to find someone an audience member who decided the play wasn't worth watching the end of. I'm assuming you have some idea of whom I'm speaking, in general.
I believe I saw them go.
I don't think that was an accident. I don't think that they randomly left. I think the theater had something to do with it. I'm not sure yet how.
All right.
The person missing has some information that I'd like. And I think they know this and have decided to make themselves more scarce. It is a young human man named Peter. Peter Cantor. Cantor, in case you're writing it down.
I am.
My usual contacts have told me that he's taken an extended leave of absence. Given the weather outside and lack of much commerce lately, I doubt he's left the city.
All right.
He's not at home, this much I can tell you. But he has some connection to the theater, I think. I'd like you to check on that.
Sure. I have a question for you as well.
Oh, by all means, questions are what I live on.
I'm looking for a friend. Who
Anyone in particular?
He happens to be a fellow by the name of Corin Woodcomb.
Oh, yes.
Familiar with the guy?
Oh, of course. Corin does a great amount of business towards usually the North Gate. There's quite a sizable warehouse over in that direction.
All right.
What dealings do you have with Corin?
I'd like to go talk to him on behalf of another friend.
Oh, I see. Well, one word to the wise, from the wise. Be careful when dealing with Corn. He has family connections,
Oh.
which should be preserved. His brother Alistair is one of the council members, the only human council member, coincidentally. And I would hate for him to have word of you in particular.
Alright. Thank you for the little tip.
Also, Corin tends to keep with him a few very useful and rather large friends.
Alright. We all need friends.
Do we not? So, whatever you do pursue in that matter, be careful.
Thank you.
I hate to lose a friend.
Me too. Anything else I can help you with tonight?
Well, that's it for the moment. I've enjoyed the meal, the company, and the liquid refreshment, but I think I need to get back to my waiting crowd. So many questions.
Same. Have a good night.
And you too.
And Klaarg won't get up, but he'll continue to nurse his drink.
Okay. And Basil goes back into the corner, kind of on the table which served as his stage. And people filter in, only a few at this particular point. You hear him field a question about fertility, about what would be the best time to try to conceive a child. And he answers that with a, like any other question. He could have been asked what was 2 + 2. And it's a comment about, well, the winter is long, but it will be over soon. And by that point, you want to make sure the conception is taken hold and so forth. And then a question about economics. And a question about masonry.
Klaarg will tune him out for the rest of the night.
It's pretty easy too.
Yeah.
If you're not directly involved in the questions, it's kind of one of those cases of, it's like turning on an educational channel and just show after show after show you have no interest in.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Has there been any sightings of the tiefling woman about these bars?
Make an investigation check as you ask around.
Sure. 14?
It takes you a couple of days to pick up any kind of lead at all.
Okay.
It's
It's something for the back burner. I guess.
Yeah, and it's people. The people who have seen her and noticed her. Most people haven't seen her. It doesn't look like she's gone too many places.
Okay.
Looks as though that she's specifically placed herself in a couple of places. Only the one bar that you were in before is the actual one that she had seemed to frequent.
Right.
But a couple of people have noticed her about town, mostly buying just regular things. You get the impression that she probably has a place to stay, and it's semi-permanent, based on the purchases she's made.
Right.
Is there any that you want to pursue now, or do you want to wait?
I think I'll wait.
Okay.
I think Klaarg would like to go meet up with Zackis at some point in the future, but it's
Okay.
not. He's not in a huge rush.
What week was this?
I'm not sure.
We will catch it up and synchronize in a moment here.
Alright.
We'll basically catch you up to the end of the month, so you have those last couple of weeks of work. Where were you on your track?
Okay, because I know I succeeded on all 3 rolls for The World Below when I had the book, and I still have TWB/M, so I'm assuming I was helping Miley decipher the book too, because she was interested in learning about Tarsol's books.
Right. That's more on her roles than yours.
Yeah.
But just time spent is what you have to keep track of there.
But I had Thursday and Friday on the second week of... What's the name of Endgame April again?
Palante.
Palanti?
Yep.
So Thursday and Friday on the second week of Palanti was going to be for Miley, and probably the other Monday, Tuesday, and Thursday, Friday after that. And the Saturday, Sunday on the second week, I had already succeeded for the circle rolls.
Okay.
20.
Okay. So again, where are we at?
We're going to backtrack from the end of the second week to Thursday and Friday of the second week, so Miley can make her roll.
Okay.
I'm assuming she would have done that already. But
Yep. Let me just check a little bit here very quickly. She's having a hard time understanding that book. It seems to be that there's something fundamental she's missing, and you're not quite sure exactly what it is. To you, it's obvious, And part of the problem of being a teacher when everything is naturally obvious is you have a hard time explaining to someone for whom it's not obvious.
Okay.
And Miley's struggling a little bit.
Right. So next Monday and Tuesday, try again?
You can, sure.
Okay.
Yeah, I think it looks like that next week is.
Or can I
him
just let her,
helping
Can I just let her borrow the book?
You can let her borrow the book, yeah.
Okay, so I'll let her borrow the book instead.
Okay.
And
As
She'll try on her own.
You cancel a full week of dates.
Okay.
so I figure if I can keep her busy with the book, then she will not be wondering about where I'm going all this time, all secret like. I mean, nobody's going to see me, but I mean, if they did, right?
Well, you still kind of have to maintain a low profile. Nala's not as good at maintaining a low profile as you are, and you're not very good to begin with.
Yeah. But
So-
we are walking together, so we are escorted.
Well, and yeah, the two of you together basically follow into that. Plus, you see Nala deal with this in a different way. She literally just tells the guards to go away. And given her seniority and given her position and given her attitude,
Yep.
they listen. Especially when a little green snort comes out as a little puff of noxious gas.
I see I've made the right decision in asking her to accompany me.
It probably wasn't a bad idea.
She's one of the highest ranking people currently at the library, so.
There's
Yep.
two people that outrank her.
And one would wonder if they'd be willing to go against her.
Exactly.
And, okay, so...
For those who don't know Nala Fenkin Cabradan, she is a dragonborn researcher into antiquities, often found in her lab rebuilding some ancient piece of something or other. Rather cranky, rather cantankerous, and been kind of brought into this by Renwick of all people, kind of happenstance into this project of rebuilding a teleportation circle. So,
An illegal teleportation circle.
I mean, it's not illegal.
Yeah.
There's no real law. It's
Yeah.
more of that it was purposely destroyed and has some strange arcane nature to it that neither one of you have actually understood yet.
Okay. But rescuing Emerald, the head of the library, somehow is dependent on this teleportation circle.
It does seem to be that way. Renwick doesn't speak very much about it. You get the impression that he's been told not to speak very much about it. You're also not entirely sure what he really knows. And a little bit of that slippage of mind is creeping back into him. The white gem, now firmly ensconced back in the back of his neck, seems to have halted any further growth, at least what you would see day to day. But there is an exhaustion, which you hadn't noticed before. There's also an impatience because he can't help in this matter. Okay. He does occasionally wander off through the library and he'll turn up later. Once in a while he has turned up to let you know not to leave the room because guards are about to pass. So he's kind of keeping an eye out for you on
So that way he is definitely helping.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Okay, so that's, I'm only doing this circle during the weekends.
Okay. Well,
So
every day you are going to that room.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because you have to continue the teleportation
But
spell.
I mean, like, okay.
The arcane rolls are
Yeah.
on the weekends.
Yeah, the understanding you're leaving to the weekends, basically building up the time to be in there, but you at least have to pop in quickly. And I think teleportation circle is only a
1 minute.
one action or 1 minute casting time, so you only have to pop in there for a few minutes.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas most of the time, Nala is actually spending a fair amount of time in there, and she's brought in equipment. You're not really sure how she's managed to bring in the equipment she has. There's literally bricks and masonry gear, and there's like some sort of magical water saw to cut this stuff. As she's carefully and gingerly taking out the bricks that were there and destroyed, examining them, you can see her sketching to figure out how to rebuild them. As you kind of are also generating the magical energy necessary. As you continue to do that day after day, there is a response from the circle. It is absorbing the energy. It is seemingly glowing a little bit more every time you go in and cast that spell. It's still not completed, and you're a little concerned, and Nala is also concerned that without it being a completed circle, she's not sure if the overall effect is what you're really wanting it to be, but at least for the moment it seems to be coming together day by day. So, again, where are we on the work track?
Okay, so we just finished week 2 for the circle for the Arcana rolls, and I was taking Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday to look at books.
Okay. What books are you going to look into?
The World Below, Miley has borrowed.
You had already finished that book.
Yeah. So I can do either. I had a list. Where did it go?
I think you only have 2 left for the.
I mean, the
spell
Chains
book.
of Religion, and
Yeah.
which I think you bounced off of once,
Yep.
Yeah.
and Ye Noble Hippogriff, which you're kind of
That one I'm leaving for
feeling
last. 'cause
nervous about.
animals.
Find your druid.
I think
Yeah.
you still have Zahalas. Is that
I
right?
do. I have the one with a title that makes no sense. The Tome of Oral, Elwyn's Guide to Demons, both useful and not, and Zahalas.
Okay.
I'll just like peek into before I peek into Zahalas, I will read the
Cole's notes.
No.
So for those at home who don't know, one of the things I've also added is magical tomes which can be researched, and they take time to research. And Zackis, being the bookish type, has been going through these books.
I mean,
Also-
I've gone through books as well.
Also, a collection of 6 of these books have a hidden 7th book essentially within it. So we've been working away at that. So what did you want to look at?
I was gonna read The Edge of Sanity for an hour before even cracking open Zahalas, so I can have advantage, resistance on the first 3 psychic or mental based attacks.
Oh, okay. That's a pretty good
Yeah.
approach. So you
We've
spent
been through
some-
this before.
You spent some time looking at this book, which still kind of gives you shivers. The book is not only a cataloging of how to create madness, it feels like it was a magnet itself for the madness. But having kind of deciphered the book, you can now selectively read certain passages to give you some reinforcement.
Scroll past the creepy parts.
Was it in fact a scroll? I think it was, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. All
So
right.
I'll crack open Zahalas and see how difficult is it. Should I take this on right now?
It does look to be a complicated book. Again, a physical description. It is a cloth cover, thin onion skin paper. Looking at it, somewhere between 80 and 90 pages. The cover itself appears to be oiled and pristine, and the pages inside are mostly flexible. It is written in Infernal. No author listed. And it does look to be complicated. To give you some of the numbers, the learning DC is 15. You need 8 successes before 3 failures. And the study rate is 2 days per roll.
What's the skill?
You can use Arcana, Religion, or Persuasion with Int.
That's gonna put me into month 5, but
It'll catch you up.
Hmm?
It'll catch you up.
it'll catch me up, and I'll get to read it before Amrûn gets here.
Maybe. We'll see.
Hopefully.
You've got a decent chance on the rolls too.
8 successes? Oh my god.
Yep, it's a particularly complicated book.
Okay,
So you gotta take
and
that first couple of days to take a look at it?
yes, sums, and I have an item I believe that will help me with int anything.
Mm-hmm.
Well, there's the Collar of Brilliance.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, that one.
Yeah, you can have advantage on the int rolls. so,
Yes, I will
yeah.
definitely do
You
that.
have very little chance of failing.
Don't say that.
So what are you rolling?
I don't believe in superstition.
I am rolling Arcana,
Okay.
so that is plus.
Yep.
Plus 8 or plus 9? No, plus 8.
Going to the sheet, it's +8/+9.
Yeah. So I think it's plus 9 with an item.
Yeah.
The item doesn't change it. It'd be whatever you have total.
Well, he has 2 things written down: one without the item, one with.
Yeah.
And
Oh,
the
okay.
item makes that extra point that allows him to go up a point. So if he's not
How
wearing
is it +8 for an int bonus?
no,
No,
it's
for
+8
Arcana.
for
Oh,
his
it's a
Arcana
skill
roll.
bonus. Oh,
Yeah.
okay, okay.
+9 though if he's wearing the item.
Which
so.
I am.
Yep.
So I'll do that thing to get advantage for every time, and each time I'll use the book to prevent those insanity things, because nobody likes
I'll
that.
give you resistance.
It gives you resistance.
Is it if it's resistance? That's just to damage, isn't it, or to effect?
To effect.
Yeah.
So resistance gives you advantage in effect resistance,
Yeah.
essentially.
All right, rolling 4 and a 6 plus. That's
Plus
not very
9.
good. Plus 9, so it's
That's a
15.
15.
15 is enough. So you have 1 success. Also make a wisdom saving throw.
3.
Nope.
Oh.
Okay.
5.
It
But
is-
do I have resistance?
It is with advantage.
10.
10? Okay.
Yeah, wisdom +2.
You start to read into the book,
Okay.
and you start to understand why its structure is so complicated and why it's very strange. This appears to be a contract,
Ooh.
a demonic contract, but it also have commentary, and the commentary itself seems to be mixed in with the contract. It's sometimes difficult to separate the two. You find the words swimming before you. Make a wisdom saving throw, and you're going to want to make this.
Advantage?
You do not have advantage on
I
this roll.
thought I had like.
This is
Yeah.
not a psychic attack. This is recovering from the effect.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
You
mental
already
attack.
you already made a roll to resist it. This is just to
12. 14.
14.
not bad,
Meat beat.
not great, but not bad.
You sit up suddenly, straight up, and the world suddenly comes back into focus for you. You realize with your stiff arms and legs and back that you've been sitting there for a long time. You look outside to see the rising sun.
Do I know what day it is?
You do not know what day it is, but you do know that if you were too late, then you missed a day on your casting of that spell.
Am I too late? I'll just. Don't I have like a calendar? Or...
You do, but how do you reference a calendar
Yeah.
if you don't know what day it is?
Yeah. There's people in the hallway.
Yeah, I'll just go to my office as if nothing had happened, you know?
You're in your office.
I thought it was in my room.
Oh, if you want to take that one in your room, okay.
Yeah. No, I hid that one in my room for a reason.
Okay. You have a number of people coming out for breakfast and sort of nodding, and you make an insight roll.
9 plus 2, I think?
It's wisdom based.
Yeah.
So yeah.
2?
11.
Or 11, okay. You notice a few of the acolytes and some of the guards kind of give you a wide berth. That doesn't, I mean, other than the fact that you probably have been in your robes for a solid day, doesn't seem to be a particular smell.
What?
You ask them that and they just kind of shy away. Nobody seems to be confronting you with it.
Is there a mirror on the way to my office? Or?
Yeah, you can go to the washrooms.
Okay, I'll do
or
that.
like the public bath.
I'll do that.
Go in there.
Look in the mirror.
You look in the mirror and your eyes are wide. There's no pupil at all, and there's dark circles deep into your eyes. It looks as though your eyes basically suffered a massive head punch. You do not look normal at all.
Well, the pen is mightier than the sword, especially the pen that wrote that book. Jeez. Can I just, like, I'll rub my eyes and...
It has no effect.
Okay.
Yeah. Squeaky, squeaky. Oh, I'm all better now. No, it doesn't have no effect, I'm afraid. It's a good try, though.
Yeah.
Um,
I'll go to my desk, ask Alfric, hey, Alfric.
Alfred kind of looks over at you and does a double take. He's a little sleepy. It's morning time.
Yeah,
and he's like,
don't worry.
yes, sir. Are you?
Yeah, I'm fine. Don't worry, it's not as bad as getting
he's
turned to stone.
backing
No,
away
no offense, no
slowly.
offense. I'll tell him it's not as bad as getting turned to stone. Yeah. No offense.
I'm not so sure. Are you going to turn me to stone? He puts his hand up to kind of peer through his fingers.
No, I just,
He seems genuinely frightened.
Poor kid.
I pulled an all-nighter. What day is it?
What day is it? And he tells you the day.
Okay.
You
what day is
have
it?
not missed a day.
Okay.
But it was really close.
What day are we?
So basically, it is the second of those 2 days.
Okay.
You started reading the night. Basically you did the. I'm assuming you kind of
started-
do like morning ablutions. You go in and you do the spell, then have the rest of your day. So I figured by the mid afternoon you started reading that book, and it's enough time that you managed to just barely make it.
Okay.
It's hard to explain exactly how I want the math to work here with it being a 2-day roll, but you believe you made that, but you actually don't remember. And you look at the calendar and you look at him and you go, in your mind, you're just sort of like, that's 4 days I don't remember. So,
Cool.
Did you study anything else or do any other studying the previous 2 days?
No. I helped my lady, but she
Okay. You have no idea what happened during that. You don't remember talking to Miley at all. In fact, you barely remember anything of those previous 2 days.
All right. I'll just keep carrying on with the teleportation circle work.
Okay. Again, you kind of make those castings moving along.
Yep.
So,
Oh, do I have to roll anything?
if you are spending time to do the occult rolls on the teleportation circle as well,
Did the Arcana rolls?
Yes.
Do I have to make 2 or just one for one?
Well,
for 1
it's
week?
per day, right?
Okay.
We've also you've only gone through the first roll for that book, so that was just the first 2 days. There's 2 more days of doing that before you get to your arcane rolls.
Are you going to continue to study that book? Given that it is risky, and you have a long-term commitment.
Yeah, I'll probably put it aside and look at.
And also remember, though, that if you do not come back to this book within 2 days, you will lose that success that you did get.
Yeah, I'd rather lose the book than the teleportation circle.
Probably a good call. I don't know why, but this is sort of striking me as I'm doing like university sim here.
Yeah.
It's like,
exactly.
I might fail that math class, but I'm going to pass French, damn it. Or I'm going to get my French project done. Maybe that's it.
Okay, so instead I will look at.
But you have some sense of what the book is.
Yeah.
And that part won't go away, but you'll have to start over again and start to interpret it.
So it's still going to be like 8 rolls completely? Okay.
Yeah, yeah. Basically, you're going to lose
You don't
that
get
one
to
because
keep
you're not
anything
spending
if you're-
not spending time on it.
Okay.
So what are you going to
I
turn
will-
your attention to then?
Hide the book again
Okay.
because it's going to be under the mattress.
Okay. I'm just wondering if someone pulls away your mattress and you don't actually have the bottom of the bed, you actually just have stacks of books.
Yeah, it's going to be at the bottom of the stack in the corner. That's the hardest to get to.
Okay.
It's the story of the Zackis and the Infernal book. How many mattresses between it is required to not go insane?
The sad thing is someone reading the book containing the story of Zackis and the books would also go insane, probably. All right. So what does that bring you up to?
So,
I'm going to try to keep this moving quickly.
Thursday and Friday of week 3, I'll look at what's the Tome of Oral about, and how difficult is it?
The Tome of Oral does also look quite complicated.
Oh.
That is a bound codex book with a hide cover, high quality calfskin vellum inside, slightly slimy to the touch.
Gross.
But you do find that when you go back to the book, every time, even if you just skim the page and you go, what was I looking at? And you go open up the book, it's back at the page you were looking at, strangely enough. The title on the spine is incorrect, referring to something about feet. You're not really sure why. Large sections of the book have been torn out.
Well,
And
that's
the
not
book
fun.
does look like it has had multiple authors. The handwriting changes partway through the book.
How complicated is it?
It is going to be. Should probably make you do an intelligence roll to figure this out, but I'm not going to. We're going to keep it simple for now.
What was the 12 plus
You
5?
also know books. If it was anybody else, then I would probably make them have to do a roll. You look at the book and realize you're going to have to figure this out with your religious background. It's going to require religion as a skill. Difficulty is 17. You need 7 before 3, 7 successes before 3 failures. But the study rate is only 1 day per roll.
Religion is int.
Yeah, that's a weird one, but
You need int to memorize all that shit. Like.
well, I mean, it probably should be wisdom. There's a few skill things like that don't make a lot of sense.
Like nature should be wisdom and
Yeah. There's been some interesting suggestions as a side tangent to completely divorce skill and stat and only make that decision when you actually roll them. It's already pre-calculated for convenience, so it's kind of one of those things that's 6 of one, half a dozen of another for convenience. Thanks to the few folks who are listening or watching too. We got 3 people:
Woo.
Chris, Julie, and Caitlin.
Hey.
People like the camera layout. That's good. Sound's coming across pretty well. That's good too.
Yeah.
So the Tome of Oral,
Gander
I'll
at
put
the-
that one aside
at the
too.
top.
The one with the nonsense title. Did I look at that one already?
The one with the nonsense title?
Yeah.
Tome of Oral was the one with the nonsense title.
No, there was another one. It was like.
I think so.
Necro something?
There was one from Myla Beluyan, which
Is that the one that is a very large slate?
probably.
Okay. Oh, by Valuyan, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Yep. That one is a large, unwieldy book made of slate, so it's also a little bit, it's very heavy and possibly fragile. Ink splattered. Again, the title on the spine is incorrect. It has a very different kind of slimy feeling. You notice that when you kind of hold the book for a little while, You pull your hand away, and there's a sort of dark red dripping on it. It is written in Elven.
Okay. How difficult does that one look?
That one, you can use. You figure out you can use Arcana or Religion. Its difficulty is 18.
Ooh.
You need 6 successes before 4 failures, and you take 1 day per roll.
All right, I'll tackle that one next.
Okay.
Is it 1 day per roll?
1 day per roll in that case.
And sorry, what was the skill?
Arcana or Religion.
Nice.
Okay. So Thursday, Friday. So Arcana, that's int. I'll use my Collar of Brilliance.
Okay.
I need to craft like a cosplay version of that item. Like seriously, I use it so often.
I need to take it away from you because you use it so often.
Okay. First roll. There's a 1 and a 14, so I'll gladly take that 14. Plus 9, so 23.
Okay. Yep, you start to look through the book. That's your first success.
Hey.
You realize that it is is half journal, half notebook. Not very coherent. Written by, as you mentioned before, Mila Valian in Elven.
Mm-hmm.
And it seems to be an inquiry into death.
Okay.
At least that's the part you've been able to figure out so far.
Cool. Second day, so that's Friday. 19 and 15, so 20. I'll take the 28.
Okay. Second day of success. Not only an inquiry into death, but where do souls go when they die?
Mm-hmm.
You're starting to get a handle on this.
Cool. That's interesting, but I got to put it down because now it's Arcana roll time for that teleportation.
Okay.
It's like I don't want to put this down, but yeah.
This is a 1 day per roll one.
Yeah.
It is.
You can only skip it 1 day.
Yeah. That's a good thing to remember.
And I have to make 2 Arcana rolls.
You have to. Well, you can spread that research out, but that one can only wait for a couple of days too.
Okay. But I mean, I can still like do the Arcana roll, then get back to the book, right?
You spend a day on the Arcana roll, and then you spend the next day on the book.
Okay, so I just got to move the day.
Yeah, you'd have to like do the Arcana roll on Monday or something.
Yeah.
Okay.
Trying to study too many things at once. It's getting a little complicated.
I know. Like that was my problem in university. It's like university PTSD right now. Okay. So Arcana roll.
You're one to talk.
What?
Roll it.
That one's at advantage too, right? Because Collar of Brilliance.
It is using
It's
the Collar of
advanced.
Brilliance. Yeah.
23. No. Intelligence can't count. 25.
Okay, that's more than enough.
Okay.
How many successes have you accumulated on the circle? 5?
1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, 5 now.
Okay. You're starting to notice that the circle itself is far more complicated than any of the circles you've seen so far. Now, you haven't seen that many, but you're familiar with the principles of the magic. This one is more than just a teleportation circle. It's not like, well, not entirely unlike, I suppose, the circles you saw in Tarsal Praxis's tower, where he had multiple circles all concentrated in the same spot. But it starts to occur to you that this is sort of closer to a summoning circle than a teleportation circle.
Uh-oh.
It starts to make you also wonder about why was it locked up in one of the Forbidden Zones and destroyed. Not just one of those two things, but both.
Okay. So it's a teleportation circle and a summoning circle, or just a summoning circle?
Somewhere in between. You haven't figured out enough of it yet to know the real answer.
All right.
But you're starting to get the impression that this is more than just a teleportation circle.
Good to know.
Although Brynwick had just said it was teleportation circle.
But I mean, if Brynwick was able to teleport here from wherever, then surely it's...
Brynwick was not. Brynwick didn't do that on his own.
Mm-hmm. He was sent.
I will ask Brynwick, is this a summoning circle or a teleportation circle, or both?
He looks at it. Looks like a circle to me.
Well, yes, I can tell it's a circle.
I never studied any of this stuff. I really don't know.
You said you were sent.
Yes.
By who?
Emerald.
Where was... And he was in this dimension. I'll describe whatever dimension Cicero was in.
It was another place that looked a lot worse than here.
So if he could cast the teleportation circle, or whatever circle, summoning, unsummoning, teleporting, that could make you appear here, why couldn't he jump through it himself?
He was being held at the time.
By what?
A cage.
Yeah.
He was able to cast somehow. He stuck his hand out through it. It seemed to work, but it seemed to also hurt a lot.
Yeah.
I managed to sneak in when he wasn't being watched, and he told me what I needed to know, or at least as much as I could understand.
And what do you need to know? Because chances are...
Find someone who can repair this teleportation circle.
And what else has he said that you needed to know? You've been somewhat evasive.
Not everything I can tell you.
Well,
Not everything you should know, and maybe some things I shouldn't even know.
If demons are about to start pouring from the circle, I'm pretty sure we should at least get a...
Is that likely to happen?
I don't know.
He looks
If it has a
genuinely concerned.
If it has a characteristic of a summoning circle, perhaps.
I don't
I suppose
know.
we'd have to activate it from this end, but...
Unless you're planning to bring demons through, I don't think
No.
that necessarily is going to happen. All I know is he said this was key to him getting out.
And we'll do everything in our power to get him out.
I mean, it's taking a long time.
Yes, that's unfortunately... Well, it's taking less than it would otherwise, because parts of the circle are already here. Normally it takes 100 days. I've read about it in a book.
So,
And-
this
well,
normally takes this long?
No, this is taking a lot shorter than usual.
Huh.
Trust us.
He looks a
And
bit,
Nala is
a
an
bit
expert at
surprised,
fixing
actually,
things.
at that declaration.
Uh,
So he knew it wasn't going to happen right away.
is he in immediate danger?
I'm pretty sure a cage is as immediate as it gets. And the hurt,
But
every
there's
time
no-
he moved anywhere near it, or in it, and around it.
Do you know who's holding him?
Yes?
Who is it?
I can't say.
Why not? Are you...
I was told not to. And frankly, I'm not sure if I can even remember. It gets a little fuzzy around that point. I think he might have... I don't know.
Was his name? Names, but the entity that Cicero is calling upon.
Baturo was that name.
Was it Peturo?
I don't know, it doesn't ring a bell.
Can I tell if he's lying?
You can try, make an insight check.
3! 5, so probably not.
Grinwig is kind of hard to read, and he seems bored with the conversation.
One last thing before I go back to my studies.
Mm-hmm.
You seemed very avoidant of Adrian. Is there a reason for this? I have...
Adrian is the authority, right?
Yeah.
Bright Rock is the guy in charge, the security guy.
But we have vouched for you on numerous occasions. He knows you are not out to harm the library.
I'm touched, but I'm not sure if he really believes that. I'm not sure if it's really even true.
Do you think the doppelganger is still within the library? Do
He
you
kind
have
of
any way-
looks over at Nala, who's busily working away at these things as well, kind of within earshot.
Mhm.
I wouldn't mention that there was more than just one. I know, I chased one out after the other one was gone.
How do you find them?
There's a gem around here, something that does like that. I'm not sure exactly. It doesn't work all the time.
Can you tell who they are? Can you tell which ones the doppelgangers are? And it's Adrian the doppelganger.
I can't, unless I suspect somebody, then I won't use it because it doesn't work very well and doesn't work all the time, and it takes time to come back to full power. But Adrian, I don't think is. At least last I saw him, he wasn't. I have been kind of keeping it low profile,
Yes.
so I haven't really purposely put myself in his path. But as far as I know, he's okay.
Okay. What about Miley?
I haven't really checked.
Okay. If you happen to have some free time and happen to check and she doesn't know, can you let me know?
You know, I could certainly try.
Good.
Anybody else you're suspicious of?
No, I'm just wondering if...
I don't like that Roland guy, but I think he's just a dick.
Oh, he is, yes, I agree entirely. Arrogant dick, too.
He knows his stuff.
Does he?
I've heard him give some of the tours. It seems to be pretty deep.
He's never been to Acro. Anyway.
I've never been to Icro. I don't think I've ever been to Icro. I wonder if I've ever been to Icro.
In any case, my absences are being noticed every now and then. And if I get cornered by a few specific people, mainly Adrian or Miley, I may have to mention this teleportation circle. So I want to make
I
sure...
wouldn't do that if I were you.
I haven't yet. I'm doing my best
I
not
wouldn't
to.
do it. I was
Sure.
under pretty specific orders. Nobody else should know this is here. I'll do whatever I have to. I don't want to. But you'd be putting their lives in danger.
I will do everything in my power to not let anybody else know, but
Good.
if my position becomes in jeopardy, what can I do?
I'm pretty sure your position's going to be in jeopardy if you don't get in or back.
Yes. Hopefully they'll trust me if anything happens. I mean, trust me that we're all doing this for the good of the library.
That's the attitude, and he kind of gives you that friendly jab in the stomach, which kind of goes, because he's probably stronger than he meant to. Now, if you don't mind me, I've got some places I haven't been.
All right. Next time we can, shoot the shit about the layout of the duct system.
Yeah.
I've developed well, not developed, but I've learned a spell that allows me to scry along various areas. It's like a little eye. I can move it and get information visually from what it sees.
Good luck. It keeps changing.
How often?
About every minute or so. I've been able to navigate my way through, but I use creative mechanisms, and a few of these gems help.
Who's changing it?
As far as I can tell, it's changing on its own.
All right, I'll have to...
I'm not sure what's causing it to change or anything like that, but it is kind of interesting because every once in a while I end up someplace I didn't expect.
Right. I'll have to look into that. Till next
What's
time.
Prinna doing these days?
She's usually just chilling, either
Okay.
being invisible or being in my pocket, sometimes staying in my room whenever I do the Arcana checks on the circle.
Okay.
I mean, I'm assuming I can trust her in my room. She's not going to go tear everything up.
Probably not.
Okay.
So
So did I have to do 2 Arcana? No, yeah, okay. That was the Saturday Arcana roll. Then it's Sunday, back to the book.
okay. Back to the Void Ledger.
Yep.
I know you don't know the name yet, but
Okay. I won't write it down.
you will soon.
This is day 1, 2, 3. Okay.
Third, yep.
24.
24 is enough. So how many successes do you have in that book?
This
Three.
is
3 successes?
4.
Okay. I will reveal kind of something I didn't mean to a moment ago, but I'll reveal the book is called The Void Ledger. She refers to the book's title, but not as a title page. She describes it as essentially the Ledger of the Void. And her quest, and this discovery as you're going through this book, is that she wants to find out where souls go when they die, when people die. There's a couple of notes in there. A name,
Mm-hmm.
Joanna. That's what I get for making up a name on the spot. Doesn't really happen as well as I wanted to. Anyway, or Joanna, I suppose would be actually the proper name. Make an insight roll.
Yes. And 19.
19. You get the impression that she's searching for Joanna, trying to find that specific soul. There's a few references here and there which kind of talk about things that she's tried, experiments she's tried. Some of the experiments sound pretty gruesome, as in literally watching people die,
Okay.
to try to detect by any magical means possible the exact moment when the soul leaves the body, and whether it can be diverted, whether it can be followed. So far in the book, no successes, and she's getting increasingly desperate. The writing is getting more and more erratic as you go along.
Okay.
Exactly 18 seconds after they die.
Now, since we've been taking quite a bit of time with that, I'm going to put that on pause for a moment, just to make sure you remember where you were.
I have my
End of
schedule on the last page. I'll rewrite it on this page.
End of week 3.
All right.
Yep.
We're going to move a little bit further forward, again, kind of making the rounds, starting with Amrûn. As you gather your group together, Again, about 5 of them are going to be with you.
Can I do one quick thing before he does that?
Sure. Actually, yeah, okay.
At the end of what I said earlier, I do send Amrûn not ascending, but an animal messenger. I found a bird somewhere.
Okay.
And send, Daddy was shot by the wild hunt. They're stronger. Also, I'll be in Wellstone. Please don't tell. All Riordan's stuff is missing. Stay safe.
Make a d20 roll.
That is an 8.
An 8? Okay. It's probably going to take a little longer than normal.
Yeah. So, knowing the winter, I cast it at a higher level, like last time.
Well, as soon as I get that, I'll do a sending back.
And thus we enter into magical Twitter. D&D Twitter.
Is your dad okay?
Strangely enough, she's on dial-up and you're on high speed.
Okay, by please don't tell, all Riordan stuff is missing, do you mean please don't tell anyone that Riordan stuff is missing? Or is it
The
please
bird
don't
kind
tell
of
about
shrugs
the
and can't
early
really
part?
tell.
Yeah, basically, is your dad okay? And what am I not supposed to tell people?
Dad is okay. Don't tell that I'm in Wellstone.
Okay. You get a sending back. Gotcha.
Cool.
Alright. Hopefully the volume is still good. I see it spike a little bit. This is the bad habit of being a radio person, always watching the stupid levels. Let us know if you're watching that everything is still going well. Tweeter, thank you very much. That's what the druidic Twitter is.
Love it.
Tweeter. So yes, you've assembled basically those 5 people. The tiefling seems to have the least to carry. She has kind of a rough-looking sword, has a sort of leather jerkin, and a bag that she's carrying with the rest of what seems like the rest of what she owns. But she's there first before anybody else is.
Cool. I commend her for traveling light and make sure she's got food, because it's going to be 2 days to Vitor.
Food. I can get food. She kind of thinks. You can see her kind of counting out in her head. 2 days. 2 days. 2 days. 2 days.
Yeah, it'd be a little expensive around here. I can make food on the way if necessary, but it's not the...
You can make food?
Tasting stuff.
Like cook?
No. I wave my hand and there are bread and fishes on the
There's a look of delight, surprise.
enough to feed
awe,
15 people.
as the food sort of just appears. And she reaches out and then kind of keeps herself.
No, you can have it if you want to. It only lasts a day. Except the pot of water over there, that stays.
And she tucks into the bread, and you can see her enthusiasm kind of mixing with the taste of the bread, where it's sort of like, hey, this is amazing, fresh bread out of nowhere. No.
Yeah.
Okay, it's kind of pasty and chewy and
Well, it doesn't say that it's bad, just that it's bland.
Well, that's what bland bread to me tastes like. It's just sort of like chew, play,
I'd say just
chomp,
there
chomp.
wouldn't be any flavor. There wouldn't
Yeah.
be that butteriness to it.
No real fine
The fish
texture.
Yeah, the fish doesn't taste like fish. It
Yeah.
just tastes like, well, what salmon would be like if you took all the flavor away.
It kind of reminds me of just recently having my face frozen and trying to eat anything, and it's like chew. Am I chewing right now? I don't even know.
It's very cardboardy in
Fish or your
flavor.
cheek? Who knows?
Then I'll start actually just bundling some of that up because it stays around for a day and we get a couple more meals today. So
Okay.
as long as they're willing to have food that doesn't taste great, I can feed them the whole time.
A young child picks up one of the fishes and kind of helps you with this. And you notice a young child with a sort of auburn hair, human in appearance.
Hello.
Kind of a haunted look on her face. And she just sort of looks up. Hello,
Are you okay?
I am.
Would
I
you
am
like to-
Ella. She kind of shakes her hands off and shakes your hand, holds it out.
Hello, Ella.
I'm coming with you.
How old does she look?
Early teenager.
Okay.
That's probably illegal.
No, that's probably fine. I mean, they're out working at that point. Sure. Do your parents know?
Probably not. She just continues to stack the fish up and start to gather the bread.
It might be best if we talk with them first.
Probably not.
Well, I'd really rather not get accused of kidnapping.
That would be
when I
better.
leave.
But I'm supposed to come with you, I was told. She kind of looks over your shoulder a little bit.
I look over my shoulder a bit.
And from the stables here, if you recall, there were some of the back streets where there were some of the other buildings back
Sure.
there. And you see, just sort of nonchalantly standing in one of the alleyways, you see Rhea. Kind of nods.
Okay.
She wants to talk to you.
Sure. Yes, I mean, if you guys want to help just pack up some of the stuff for later today, I mean, you can eat as much as you want of it. It's not great, but it's filling.
It's okay.
Sure, I'll be right back.
Okay.
I do a quick
The
walk
rest
over
are kind
there.
of coming up, and between Excellence and Ella, they're kind of instructing them about the food. You kind of see one of them take a bite out of the bread and just sort of like,
Yeah, it's like,
it's definitely not what they're used to, and it would be actually the four that you brought with you, or the four of them that you brought with you, now six, wouldn't be too bad. It would actually be Otnel, the younger scholar brother, who probably has, you know, like I said, he's the one that didn't have a pain other than the paper cut. He's the one that kind of reacts to the bread itself.
Yup, that's fine.
You look up and you're kind of walking that direction. You do not see Rhea. But as you walk around the corner,
Yeah.
Into the alleyway, and you recall that some of the magics that had been kind of inhabiting this place had been causing some of the ever-burning lamps to dim, but they had
Okay.
brightened back up again after the presence had been removed. But in this particular corner, you notice that it is now dim again, and it's now kind of a dim end of the alley. And you see her standing there, kind of dancing, just sort of skipping to herself. And you see the little kitten, which is now grown into be a full-size cat, actually, at this point. Pretty, I think was his name, is kind of
The OG
matching her steps, and they're kind of dancing together.
Hello,
in
Rhea.
a pattern.
I look about in case there's any just Cicero business happening. Just in case, but
Make a perception check.
8 plus 7, so 15.
Okay. You definitely see no sign of Cicero.
Okay.
But it is a bit dimmer in this corner, and you can see that looking up at the light, it's actually been subdued. There's still some ember of it glowing, but it's the magic of it's been kind of subdued.
Yeah.
She continues to kind of dance around in kind of a sing-songy voice. Hello.
What's up?
What's up? The sky is up. The sun is up.
Also a roof.
Time, too, sometimes.
Well, we will be leaving shortly.
I know. I'll be
Why
sad
did-
to see you go.
I thought you were coming with us.
Rhea? Or
Yeah.
Ella? Rhea wasn't
Rhea.
coming with you.
No, you'd said that Rhea was
She wanted
coming.
to.
She wanted to come with us. I told her parents I'd take care of her.
Oh, okay. Sorry, I forgot about that.
Which is not. That's okay.
That was going to be her kind of also saying that here now, but now I
Okay.
can kind of backtrack a bit and say, I'm not ready to go, but I'll be with you.
okay.
I've sent you a friend of mine. She's important.
Okay. That's good to know, but I should probably talk with her parents first.
You probably don't want to. You can. Her parents are dead.
Okay. That
But her
Then
grandmother
that's
takes
fine.
care of her.
ability to talk to her. Who's her grandmother?
She can be a very mean woman. But she has her heart in the right place when she puts her mind to it, so to speak.
Who's her grandmother?
She kind of considers herself the grandmother of everyone here.
Is it Valencia?
Of course.
Oh, great.
I was thinking somebody else.
Okay.
She may not want to talk to you.
Oh yeah, I'm pretty sure she doesn't want to talk to me.
But Ella is very important. I'm going to need her before the end.
The end of what?
She kind of leans down and is kind of playing patty cake with Pretty. Well, the end of me, maybe? Or the end of something. Either way, I'm not going to be the same.
We do change. Everyone changes.
Not everyone. Some people can't change. But then they're gods.
I'll take your word on that. Okay.
My mother doesn't want me to go.
No, I would not be surprised about that.
My other mother wants me to go, though. And my father wants me to go. He's scared of me. She seems genuinely sad about that.
That can happen. I think he loves you, though.
In his own way. But he's always been scared of me.
Even before this?
Yes.
Interesting. Well,
I was not only born into this world.
okay. What's going on with you? The disappearing, coming and going.
I go where I need to see things. There's a lot to see. And I so much I still don't really understand.
You are young.
And old. Just like Pretty here. Scratches her behind the ear. Pretty kind of arches up and gets used to it.
Okay. Well, if you need any help, let me know.
I always need help, but I'm not sure you can help. Not now. Not yet. Soon.
Excuse me.
Well, whenever you think I can help, let me know. I will do my best.
Be careful of that other girl. The one who's not a girl. I'm not sure about her. She speaks with another voice.
I don't know who you're talking about.
And she turns to you, and for a moment her face seems to be shadowed. And from the angle of the shadows, it seems to change into another familiar young girl, one who sat in the back of many of your lectures, questioning, teasing, and taunting.
Yes.
I do not know who she is yet.
I'm going to name her Young Hag.
That may be her name.
I think she has called herself Hoarfrost.
That may also be her name. Or the name she is given. Names are funny things.
Yes.
Rhea isn't my name, for example. But it sort of is.
What is your name?
I was called a lot of things when I was born.
A lot of things when I was born is very strange with her name.
She kind of giggles at your joke. Very, very childlike for a second. Almost younger than her actual age. No, silly. I am the gate. And I always will be until I'm not.
Okay.
Of course I'm not hearing this.
Interesting.
Isn't it? I don't know what it means, though. Pretty sometimes thinks it knows what I mean, but then we go somewhere else.
Well, bye.
I'll see you soon. Leave without me.
Can you wait in 2 more seconds?
Stay as safe as you can.
I'm safe for now.
Okay.
And you look back, just kind of to say that, and she's not actually there. But you still hear her voice reverberate in your ears.
I see a cattail disappear behind something.
Hashtag cat NATO.
I want to draw cat NATO. I just
Well,
I'm not good enough at drawing cats.
I'll head back to the sledge.
Okay. The rest have already arrived now and are starting to adjust their stuff on the sledge itself. The very short young girl, the one who came up and was sent by Rhea, seems to be moving things on the sledge. She seems a little stronger than her young youth would imply. Her hands are very, very firm, very strong as well, and you can notice there are calluses on her hands as well. But she seems to be making a pattern specifically, or at least that she wants the crates to be arranged in a certain way. The others are just, why did you do that? And just kind of complaining and wondering.
She's Tetrising.
Oh, okay. I was going to say, don't get us into copyright trouble here.
Oh, right.
I'm pretty sure they can't identify what we whistle.
I'm a pretty accurate whistler.
Oh, thanks for the neighbors to drive by.
It's like only going one block. What's the point of?
They do that all the time.
Mm-hmm.
Just try to ignore it.
Or something.
I go to Ella and say, how angry is your grandmother going to be that you're gone?
Why don't you ask her? And she points down the street.
Oh, great.
And you can see Valencia walking with purpose. Luton is behind her as well, sword drawn. The Reeve and her son is there as well. And you can see there's a number of the people, like this is basically early day, but there are people that are milling out in the street. They're seeing this and kind of following this conference.
They've been inside stores looking at it. Oh, she's on the warpath, and they're following it. It's like we've had winter for 4 months. This is entertainment.
Yeah, you see Snippic kind of coming out of Isanor's door, and the two of them are kind of leaning out with concerned looks on their faces.
Considering what happened last time this happened.
I've already been thrown in jail once.
Congratulations on getting alienated from Friday.
So.
Oh, there is actually one more thing I do before, but that can be handled after.
Okay. You can see she's looking over at Ella, who stands there unconcerned, and she's looking at you. And there are, if she could manifest daggers with her eyes, you would be pinioned to the wall.
I smile pleasantly and say, hello, Lady Valencia. I was just about to ask after you.
With me, and she just turns on her heel and walks to one of the side alleys. Just kind of leans in with me.
I lean down to Ella. See, she does want to talk to me.
There's a look that comes across her face of confusion, and followed by a silent, worded, "Good luck."
Thanks. Yes.
Yeah, Luton is staying there
quickly
with the child and looks to be kind of talking to the child. The others are just standing around looking at this confusion, have no idea what's going on.
Hey, Luton. Can I head off?
What is the meaning of this? What are you doing with my grandchild?
Well, I didn't know she was your grandchild. She just showed up and said that she had to go with me.
Well, then you're going to tell her not to go.
Well, she seems very insistent.
She's a very willful child.
Yes.
I've raised many of them. This one has caused me no end of concern.
How many times has she left the town without your blessing?
3 times.
What's the likelihood she's going to do it again as soon as possible to try to find me?
If she's not encouraged, then she will not follow.
I have a feeling there's little I can do about this.
And what makes you say that?
She believes she has been told by someone of power that she needs to go.
She steps back a bit, looking at you with a very strange expression, kind of trying to assert if you actually said those words.
Have you ever, well, you run this town.
I do. I protect this town.
Is it your duty to protect the town or your destiny to protect the town?
She looks puzzled one may be the same.
Sure. Your granddaughter seems to believe she has a destiny. I don't know
Who put
why
her up to
she
this?
was told to come with me, but she seems very set in this decision.
She is a willful child. I've instilled in her the need to be strong. But she sometimes has strange ideas. Who told her to do this, if you didn't?
Someone of power.
Who?
To be honest, I'm not quite sure.
That's not satisfactory at all.
No, but that's about as far as I can get. If you let her come with me, I will make sure she is safe. Perhaps she may learn something from this trip.
How do I know that she would be safe? And let us put this another way. If her safety is ever in jeopardy, yours is far more dangerously on the edge.
It always is. Why do you think I do this? The last time I came through here, I was not who I am. I do this to protect people. If there are others who wish to learn more about how to protect people, then I'm willing to assist them. If she is coming with me, then that must be what she wants. If she simply wanted to leave here, she would not need to come with me on a sledge trip through the snow back to Bator.
How are you her target this time? You breathed no word of your religious convictions to her.
Has she shown up before?
You've not
I didn't
seen her
think
before
so.
today.
No. I did not see her before about 10 minutes ago when she showed up and started helping me stack bread and fish.
How... And she kind of looks exasperated and kind of walks away, kind of raising her hands, as if trying to figure out this puzzle of this child.
I
Her
like this
parents have
kid.
already died. And I feel responsible for that. I feel responsible for her.
You are her grandmother. If she
I'm not really, but she is my ward.
If she comes with me, then I will be responsible for her as well.
It's too soon. She's too young.
Not for what most children, not for the lives of most young adults.
She is not most children. She kind of whirls on you with a look of not anger so much as just sort of almost appreciation, the fact that she is not like most children.
Yes, I can see that. Do you seriously think that if I told her to stay here, that she would do so? If so, then I will tell her to stay. As I've said before, my intent is not to disrupt things. But if she believes this is the road that she must follow, then holding her back may simply put her on a worse path later.
I had envisioned all sorts of paths for her. Leaving with you on your errand was not one of them. She is special. But she is more like me than I wish to admit. Make a persuasion roll with advantage.
Okay.
Are you kidnapping or not?
Charisma.
Well, I got a natural 20,
Ooh.
so it's a 26.
You will teach her and protect her, but let her mind be her own.
As I said before, it is not my intent to create minions, simply to teach people how they can help others, either through the will of Paluxia or through their own hard work.
Make sure that she is aware of options. Paluxia is a distant one. All the gods are.
As someone who has attempted to contact them, I can tell you yes, even more than you thought it would.
There's an involuntary shudder when you talk about in trying to contact the gods that you notice in her. She turns abruptly and looks kind of down at the wagon, and for a brief instant, in the hardness, in the conviction, in the strength, in the solid rock wall that is Valencia, you see a small relent as she sees that child.
I strike fast. No, I don't.
And that was the last thing that Amrûn and Elzera ever did. And the religion died with him, and all of those were burnt.
No, I walk till she's like I move so she's facing me, and
Your eyes harden when they kind of land on you, kind of moving away from her, and the mask is back in full effect.
I put a hand on her arm, just like that. And I,
She looks at it suspiciously.
your granddaughter will be safe as long as she is around me. I will make sure that nothing happens to her. If she decides she doesn't want to stay at the temple or around me, I will bring her back here.
She looks at you, kind of slowly nods, and then kind of stands straight up with her chin held high. Of course she will be safe.
Then I drop my
She is
hand
an
while she's looking.
Ottenbar, and she walks right by you, down to the gathering below. Luton is there, kind of eyeing suspiciously this group of people that's about to go. By now, Ella has kind of finished her rearrangement of what's in the back, and just sort of sitting there serenely waiting, confident. And when you see Valencia approaching Ella, you can see Valencia in Ella, the posture, the strength, not defiant, more of self-confidence, more of beyond her age kind of solidity. And Valencia walks up to her, bends down to her, whispers in her ear, and then stands up and kind of adjusts her vest slightly. Eyes at the rest of them. We shall go now, Luton. And Luton just looks absolutely mystified because he was really kind of expecting he was going to stab somebody today.
I walk up to Luton while she was doing that. It's like, hey.
It's very casual.
You don't get to arrest me again.
Luton reluctantly puts away his sword, although there's a moment where he's like, I could just stab him anyway.
I could try.
And then Valencia walking off, he just sort of puts the sword away and then turns to follow her. Peels off, actually goes up to her, you see him kind of lean in to say something to her, and then he kind of stiffens and walks off to the Reeves office instead, where she goes back to the gate, back presumably up to the Ottenbar Estates.
Okay.
What was that all about? This excellence speaking.
That
I'm going to
was
try to
easy.
inject a small amount of like odd accent for her. I don't know why,
Yeah.
but
Oh, just Ella is the granddaughter of the lady that runs the place.
and the others are like,
Oh.
what? Just kind of taking it in. It's not quite understanding. And Ella just sort of nods slowly. Are we going now?
We will be shortly. I just have to say my goodbyes.
One of the actually both Telor and Urena go over to the horses actually, and they look like they know how to handle horses. It looks like.
Oh, good.
So they're actually going to start to brush them down and get them ready to go. Sarah is there as well, kind of looking on and kind of. You get an impression right now that out of the woodwork now comes like a dozen people who are all pulling back, kind of watching this whole thing unfold. And Sarah kind of walks up to you. Is everything okay?
I believe it is. I'm just heading out again. I may be back at some point in the fall. I don't know.
The snows are pretty deep. Be careful on the road.
Yes, they should be passable at this point, though. I opened up the gate, there's snow.
For Zackis, it's like.
No, I just until then, it'll be goodbye. Thank you for everything. She's not the baby, wasn't it?
She's
No,
the
she's-
great
the
aunt.
yeah because she was the aunt of the people who had the kids.
Okay.
People had the kid. It was her husband that was cursed as well.
Yeah.
So
Sketchy baby?
Yes.
Okay.
Sketchy
perfectly
baby.
normal baby. Perfect. Like you guys
No,
are
it's
really.
not.
Except we have to
I mean,
make wisdom saving throws every time we look at it.
Occasionally, maybe it melts your brain, but other than that, it's a perfectly normal baby.
I thought you were talking about the baby when you brought up the other kid, honestly, not gonna lie.
I need to go!
There was enough differentiation meant there too because her parents are dead. So,
Yeah.
and as far as you know, the parents aren't dead. The child would also be really, really young.
No, but like when
newborn.
Rhea was saying to beware of the child.
Oh,
yeah.
Which child? Oh, the baby child, like. Right.
Anywho, sorry.
Say,
That was
I'll
me.
say I say my goodbyes there. I'll go see Snippic and the lady
Isinor?
whose name starts with I. Yes, Isinor.
Yeah, they're still hanging out in front of Isnor's shop. You suspect that business was a little slow, or Snippic just decided it was. And
But
went
you
visiting
didn't
once
expect
more.
to see that, did you?
They kind of invite you in because they really don't want to talk in this street about it. Snippic extends the foldable legs that he normally has in his office, so he's kind of more or less eye to eye to you. Snippic being a gnome and Isnor being a fairly tall elf. Snippic's kind of grinning, and he's trying to hide his grin from what just happened. And Isnor's flat out just looking at you bewildered. What was that? And do we have to worry about anything?
I don't think so. Just Valencia's granddaughter decided she needed to come with, and hadn't told Valencia beforehand.
She looks puzzled. Her granddaughter? I had no idea.
Adopted, I think. Maybe.
Well, that would make sense.
Um,
Because she doesn't look like an Ottenbar.
No, she's kind of missing the point of years. Yeah, I'm about to head out. We'll be gone probably for a while.
Some of them sad to miss you.
Some of them might be coming back in a couple of months, but around beginning of summer. It's the adventuring season, going around and doing good things, avoiding
If summer
the snow.
ever comes. According to the scrying that I've been doing, the weather's not going to end for a while. This is one of the worst snows I've seen in years.
Well, when it comes, I will be there and ready to go adventure wherever we're needed.
That's the spirit.
In the meantime, we could take a look in on Thomas occasionally, just to make sure he's not getting too obsessed about work.
I've been seeing him come in to get some materials, and he seems to be adjusting a bit better.
Yeah,
I think
he
your
seems to be
influence is
doing
helping.
better. I hope so.
I bought some of the things he's made recently. Pretty nice quality, actually.
Oh yes, he's very good. He's way beyond my capabilities.
Mine too. I tend towards the mechanical, you know. Not so much with some of the fancy jewel work, and, well, isn't
I show him my shield. It's like, yeah, it's not jewel work, but
That's pretty nice.
it's an idea I had 4 months ago. Thank you for looking out for him and the family. They should be fine, I hope, but he was through some hard times. So.
I've talked to his wife a number of times. She says he's getting better, and I think there's some hope. I think you've helped. I'll check in on them. You can assure you of that.
Thank you. If I find any interesting goops or crystals or anything along the way, I will be sure to think of you.
Well, I hope you mean that as in you might send them back rather than I just remind you of goops and crystals.
Oh, yes. I mean, at least what I can. The mail system is not as good as one might hope.
True. Theodred has
but,
helped us out in a number of cases. We don't have quite a steady supply, perhaps, but
Yeah.
at least I can know that I'm helping them.
Well, then maybe I'll say my goodbyes to them as well and head
Okay.
back. I'm assuming I've already said goodbye to Theodred and
Yeah.
that, because it's like a 3-hour walk if I want to go say goodbye to them. I will go back to Thomas Morden's
Okay.
place.
You go in the main area, and for one of the first times, and maybe even the first time since you've actually been here, you see him sitting back and relaxing.
Hey,
He's not working on anything at all.
Morden?
There's a little bit of twitchiness, like he really does want to get back to work, but
good.
he is trying to.
He's moving. That means he's not
He's
dead.
not doing well. But no, he's kind of sitting back a little bit. You can see there's a cup of tea, probably,
Oh.
presumably in front of him. That he's a couple of crackers that presumably his wife made earlier.
Hello, Thomas.
Amrûn, it's good to see you.
Well, good to see you. As I mentioned before, I'm about to head out.
Of course.
Goodbyes.
Of
I
course.
was wondering, we talked. This is something that I would have mentioned to him periodically before, but just I think I didn't get to it. That project I mentioned that the gnome Gerbo had been working on.
Right.
Have you-
the scribing thing?
I'm
Yes.
supposed to talk about it.
Yeah. Hey, I might be fixing it. Have you had
You're gonna
any
get scooped.
ideas? As I know, I saw you writing some stuff down about how to fix his problem of the power source being a little too explosive for that.
Well, he's ambitious, if nothing else.
Yes.
Definitely has quite a project in mind. It's difficult to see how he would power that. It sounded like he wanted it to be small enough. It could easily fit in a room. I mean, I could imagine using a water wheel or something to generate the power necessary, or if you had some sort of magical batteries that could be drained, and there's some electricity that can be generated from chemicals, but nothing probably on the strength that he would need. The amount of impact it sounded like he needed in order to impress the paper with the ink properly would be quite consistently difficult. I haven't had any good ideas yet. Everything I've had so far, it wouldn't work on a large scale. Something a little smaller, perhaps, a pen-sized thing that could inject ink a little bit. I could get something like that working, but nothing quite so complicated yet. I'm hoping to. Well, I was thinking maybe when the spring happened, I might make a trip down to Vatur to see Gerbo if he could see me. I don't know
imagine that could be arranged.
how difficult it is to make an arrangement with the library to meet, but I was musing about it. I haven't made any commitment to the idea. I wouldn't want to leave home for too long and
certainly.
leave the kids and my lovely wife. But you know, I haven't really been out on those trails for a while, and well, I hope people don't remember entirely what life was. What life was like. Well, you know, when I was
Yes, when they were.
having problems.
Yes.
Back in the day, but hopefully people will forgive and maybe I can make some of those connections. The season is almost over here, and I've made good sales to some of the people who've come through, but I am concerned that well, the market's a bit saturated. People haven't really been coming and going much for a while now.
Well, travel should improve over the next couple of months as the snow disappears.
Yes, that's what I hear should happen.
But definitely wait until the snows have gone and the ground has started to firm up.
Oh yes, I wouldn't want to go too early. I wouldn't want to get stuck somewhere.
Yes.
And not really sure if there would be a caravan or anything I could travel with. I don't think I'm quite ready to make the travel on my own just yet. I don't know if it would be the same as when I've gone before.
When I get to Vitor, I will talk with Gerbo and make sure that he is ready and knows your name, so that if you come to town and go to the gate, just send him a message. And
yes. If you can wait a moment, I'll write something you can take with you, an introduction letter. If you could hand that on, that would be very helpful to me. And he goes hunting around for his desk and kind of pulls out a few different scrolls of paper. You realize he's got like diagrams on most of these, and he kind of finds one, and it's like there's only a diagram in one corner of it, so he kind of tears that part off and starts to write down. And you actually can see that the quill that he's using is one of the ones he was talking about, that he did actually kind of get working. It glows a little bit on the side. He doesn't actually refill it with ink, but the ink seems to get lower and lower, and it seems to be somewhat self-filling. As he swears halfway as the ink kind of breaks out into the page and gets a regular quill at that point and starts writing it out, using the ink that was stuck on the page to actually fill the quill as it goes along. But writes himself kind of a bit of an introductory letter, and you can see he's sketching out some ideas as well, and he kind of has to stop himself when he looks up, and he kind of gets lost in thought, realizes you're still standing there, goes, oh, I'm sorry, and goes back to it. The letter gets to be a little longer probably than he intended, but he kind of wraps it up and hands you the scroll. If you could hand that on to him, that would be excellent, and perhaps we'll be in touch soon. And certainly, if he's interested in coming here and in meeting in person, myself, and I'm sure that Snippic would also be interested in this conversation.
Oh, I imagine
his
so, yes.
facility with mechanical things is similar to this Gerbo, although not quite ambitious in that way. Most of what Snippic makes are absolutely beautiful, but mostly on a smaller scale and not entirely functional. I mean, not that they're broken. I mean, more that they're not functional in terms of they don't do things. They're more intended for decoration.
Yes.
Yes, of course. So I shouldn't keep you any longer.
I put her hand on his shoulder and to steady him a little bit and say, well, my friend, it is goodbye for now, but
Yes.
I will be back at some point.
Oh, good. I look forward to you coming
See
back again.
how things are doing and how see what your stock is like later on.
Of course.
Should you need any assistance? Well, I'm not sure how people. Yeah, people send letters out here.
There is,
be by caravan.
it's by caravan basically. So it's if someone's traveling that direction, then you can send them off to the dispatch. Inside Vitor, there is a bit of a mail system because there's a couple of companies specialized in message and package delivery.
Yeah, couriers.
Yeah, so you go to them and say, I need this delivered to this other part of the city.
I think if you need anything, send a letter to what was it? The something pony. The inn that I was staying at.
Elegant Pony.
The Elegant Pony.
Elegant Pony, that's right.
And that's where I will be returning at the beginning of summer.
Ah, excellent. I will do so. And may I also send a package or two there? Would
Certainly.
that be secure, safe there?
I believe so.
Ah, good. I have a few ideas.
I mean, they seem to be a nice place. Okay, well, I'll say goodbye to him and the rest of the family,
And you actually, you see his wife kind of standing in the back and is just sort of mouthing a thank you to you. And genuine, you can kind of see the two kids that are gathered around her legs. She's kind of keeping them out of the room, not wanting to disturb.
I'll go over and pick the kids up.
Yeah, they're happy to see you, but when you kind of tell them that you're going, there's this kind of tighter grab that they got on. You can't go. I'm gonna keep you.
Aww. That's it. Well, I'm off then. And I'll set the kids down and say, don't worry,
With the
I'll be back.
kids.
Yeah. I'll be back. It won't be too long. And, maybe I'll have a little something when I return.
They both look at their mother, kind of in, are we allowed to? Kind of mode, and she just sort of smiles and looks at you, and you get that. There's that psychic connection that parents will give to people, as in, don't you dare buy them something I'm going to regret, or something we can't afford to follow up with.
I bought them horns.
And then the White House.
Look, I bought your kids drums and other noisemakers. Oh, thank you. But no, there's definitely a genuine thank you as well. She catches you by the door. Anytime you'd like to come back, I'm sure that we would be more than happy to see you, and you'll not need for anything even you're here. You've done so much for Thomas. You brought him back to me.
And he's done so much for people in here. It's all about passing on the good. And I'm sure that Thomas will help a great many people now. So if there are any problems, then again, just send a letter to the Elegant Pony in Vitor, and I will be back at the beginning of summer to check. But, take care of him.
I will. And she bids you adieu. You go back to the group. We're going to take a quick break because it's now 5:40.
Yep.
So for those of you watching, you'll be probably seeing the break screen. Getting new at this. Oh, look, beach ball. There we go. So we will be back in, I hope, 10 to 15 minutes. Thank you so much for listening and watching so far. And we'll be back very shortly.
So.
All right, and we're back to it for the second hour. I was going to say half, but hour and a half probably or so. 7 will be kind of the aimed evening. I didn't ask earlier if anybody has a hard out tonight, but
8:30 latest.
Okay,
But
so
usually it's done by 8.
we'll try to end by 7, partially because it's a lot to watch, and also it has been getting warmer and warmer here today, and I kind of
It's still on the pause screen on.
connecting. So that's thinks it's reconnecting. Let's see if this happens in 12 seconds or so. Get us. It's like halfway between action pose.
I see you.
Hey.
And you're back. All right, here we go. I'm still getting it paused on my screen here, but apparently that works okay.
There's a bit of a delay.
Welcome back to people.
I just ate a chip.
I'm still paused on my own screen here, so hopefully if you guys can see us on the other end, then that's good. This is a test. There's bound to be some connecting again. And now it's reconnected, so you probably heard me say, reading my own texting, typing, reconnecting again. This is one of the questions I had too, was how long a video I could actually put up there. We're almost at 3 hours, so.
Yeah.
I'm wondering if that's part of the problem, or if it's, all right, well, Chris says it's good, so we're gonna go with that. I'm gonna try to notice,
Hello.
yeah, so I think, Maria's going to try to be the spot the problem girl for the moment. Yes, and I'm still paused on my end, which is also kind of weird.
Just did the hello thing.
It just, okay, well, there you go.
So there's a bit of a delay.
Arm flail lady. Okay, well, there you go. Bit of a delay. That's fine. As long as it's still working, like I said, my screen is frozen, so it's a little bit confusing. I will move it to the blank screen as the new screen. Wow, I can barely read this across the room. There we go. Just so I get less CPU usage. Maybe that will help. There is a delay. Lol. Yes. All right. Well, hopefully you guys stick with us. We will have a recording of this, and we're going to be watching the Facebook to comment on it. If you guys, I think there's 3 of you right now. I know Caitlin, thank you. It's working great. Chris is there as well. I think, Marie, you're the third person. I think we lost somebody along the way.
Possibly.
If there's anything in this that we can improve or change, we'd love to know. This is a demo of us trying this. We've tried it just recording for a while, and now we're actually to the point where we're thinking maybe streaming somewhere out there. Facebook for the moment, maybe Twitch or YouTube. I mean, technically, I guess, and do any of them. So yeah, if you have any suggestions, by all means, you can leave them right in that group. We'd be happy to see what we can do. And that includes, layout. I think the camera layout's finally working pretty well. If there's questions about the sound, apparently that's working fairly well as well. Or if we have annoying habits we don't realize. I'm desperately trying not to prick my nose every 2 minutes. But thankfully, far enough away camera means you can't see any boogers handling around. So with that, okay, we'll see if we get some magic socialism going here a little bit later on. But we are going to turn to Klaarg.
Uh-oh.
When he's getting together with Zackis.
Because, well, actually, why don't we do a little bit more with Elzera here to catch you up a little bit? Because one of the things you properly pointed out is you're kind of in this slow-mo time.
It's going to go faster now.
Where I think what we can do, unless you have something specific that's going to happen, it's really going to be speeding up at this point for you.
Yeah.
We can say that you are working with your father on some of the alchemy recipes. He still has a few of those and he knows a lot more than what he's presenting right now, but he believes these are probably the ones appropriate to your level.
Yeah.
In particular, he's going to recommend bitterfoot tea.
Yeah, that's the one that I was going to ask about, because that was a bit of an overkill of a use of a potion, but it's what I had.
and he knows how useful it can be. So this one, let's see, do I have a separate page? So we're going to try to do this a little bit differently. Suggestion from Pat, that we're basically going to have you roll it out, and at the end we'll know how long it took, and we'll know. I can tell you some of the things along the way. So it's only an hour per roll.
Okay.
But if you don't learn it in one evening, basically you have to start again the next evening. The difficulty to learn it is going to be 12.
Okay.
You need 4 successes before 3 failures.
And I believe now I am actually proficient in alchemy, correct?
That's right. That's right. So you'll have that as well. And yeah, basically it'll be the process of taking the bitterfoot roots, turning them into a tea and steeping those. So if you want to start rolling those out just to figure out how long it takes.
Perfect, and he's giving me advantage.
He is giving you advantage because he's teaching you.
Okay. And alchemy would be what skill again?
It's your proficiency level.
Yeah.
So it's its own skill essentially.
Yeah, it's alchemy tools.
But like what?
Oh, stat.
Modifier.
Yeah.
What stat am I adding? Because it's 18 plus whatever modifier.
That's a good question. I would say, well, that's going to succeed,
Yeah.
so it doesn't really matter. I'm going to say wisdom.
Wisdom? Okay.
Wisdom for learning, possibly intelligence for actually creating things.
Okay.
Once you figured it all out. So you've got 1 success now. And again, just kind of roll them out. You can even roll them out, all of them, in a row, and just take note when you're sure of it. Well, thank you, Caitlin. Caitlin says, "I would follow you guys into hell. Wherever you stream, I will be there." Well, thank you.
Aw.
That is absolutely.
I love you, girl.
Zackis will probably be the one you're following.
I will take them into hell just because of the request.
I'm making a teleportation circle right now.
That's a natural 15.
Okay, that's a good one.
Natural 12.
Okay, that's 3 successes.
And another natural 15.
Okay, so in a couple of hours, with your father's instruction, you've heard of bitterfoot roots. You haven't necessarily gone after them yourself. They're not hard to find necessarily. And I do have a printout for the recipe. For those of you also listening at home, we know D&D does not have a fully worked out alchemy system. I'm apparently crazy because I made one.
You might be able to publish it someday.
Probably not. I think I've stolen enough ideas and things from other places that it's actually ends up being original because I just kept getting frustrated with other systems. But,
Exactly.
but I will give you what the information about bitterfoot tea is. It takes 1 hour to steep.
Mm-hmm.
It's only DC 10 to make.
Okay.
It's actually fairly easy to make. When you are successful, after an hour of steeping, you have up to 4 cups of tea. It tastes like socks. That's literally the description that Liari would give you. Is it tastes terrible, but it works.
I have a cantrip to fix that.
The effect of it, however, it will remove one magical effect of poisoned, diseased, or blinded. However, the person who drinks it also has to make a con save, only DC 10. If they fail, they retch and are at disadvantage for an hour. The tea itself,
disadvantage on everything?
yes,
Okay.
yes. Basically, you are miserably upset stomach for that hour. It is once made, it's shelf stable for an hour, so you can brew it and you have an hour which to drink it. But that is Bitterfoot tea, and he gets you to drink some. Make a con save.
That's a natural 13.
Yeah, it is a little hard to keep down, and you're pretty sure that there's a sort of
I take a sip and then I do
muddy-
the cantrip that
Oh,
makes things taste better.
there you go. But there's still a milky, murky texture that kind of lurks on your teeth and tongue when it's gone. So while it might taste great, it's still going to have that texture, sadly.
Dope.
But he does tell you that he actually drinks it down without retching. Doesn't even seem to react. He's made it a lot, you can tell. You probably also get the impression that being an experimental alchemist can be a dangerous and somewhat rough job, especially when you decide to test a lot of things on yourself.
I'm pretty sure that this is what he gave Ezek that one time that we snuck into his lab.
Most definitely, because the side effect of making someone retch is also kind of useful if they're not poison diseased or blinded at the moment. It does kind of move through you in this sort of weird way of flowing down through your body. It's a little like it's oozing on the inside as well, that sandy texture. Even though you don't have tongues on the inside of your throat, which you're very happy of for the moment, you still feel that sort of weird slinky texture. You get the impression, too, that it's a tea, as much to hide it as anything else. The hot water kind of hides, because after an hour you kind of try to stir it and it's kind of sludgy. And still smells even more increasingly, if possible, like socks.
Something that I would have done when I grabbed my stuff is I would have grabbed my plants.
Ah, yes, yes.
And what I'm going to do for the rest of the month is pretty much, I'm going to stick near the house mostly.
Okay.
And I'll spend some time in the greenhouse, avoiding the rose garden.
Okay. In fact, because you're staying there, and because you're spending time in the greenhouse, Liari also spends time in the greenhouse. His wandering eye towards the woods does come up from time to time, but because you're there, he's focused enough on it that he doesn't seem to.
Look at the moon blossom I found! The seeds I found!
He's kind of amazed, because you do have quite a collection of seeds. And,
oh, yeah.
Probably the next couple of weeks is spent kind of identifying them, you growing little shoots, and him trying to figure out exactly which plant it was. You will find there's the bitterfoot plant. You have to grow it to full maturity to get the roots from it.
Yeah.
But the leaves are also useful for another concoction as well. She's learning how to make magical buckleys. Absolutely. It tastes terrible, but it works. I wish I hadn't said that, because it's exactly the slogan, and I realized I was going to say it. Sadly enough.
Although I will say I tried Buckley's once, it did not work. It made me sicker.
Well, then you had the Bitterfoot tea after 1 hour expiry.
And you rolled a 1.
Can I have
I don't have it
don't have
printed out right here in front of me, so I will hand you that. Make sure to remind me when we're done, and I'll print it out.
I'll add it to my collection.
One of the days you're in the greenhouse, working away with your father. You hear Ezek answer the door at the front. There's a very curt nod, very polite, quiet voices, and he escorts someone coming on through. Someone you recognize. You haven't seen him for months at this point. The very young, very inexperienced, and at the time, not exactly successful Kosh Amrûn.
Oh my god, Kosh! It's been a while.
He, as you remember, he was not successful in his trials, so technically not having full druid status at this point. But actually, you hear other people coming in as you see behind Kosh, 2 other people you had seen at that particular moot. The 2 tall human brothers, Parda and Tero, the 2 barbarians, essentially, the 2 of his kinfolk.
And Taro was like the card, right?
Tero. As they're kind of milling about in that front room where you had treated your father, kind of looking uncomfortable at furniture. But they're dressed in heavy furs. They've been definitely ready for the winter. You can see that they've got probably snowshoes, actually, that they kind of shake off by the door. Again, they're wearing probably a lot less than most people would expect. They're obviously used to cold a lot more, but they're also dipping their head down a little bit, as each of them is easily taller than even Ezek, who is fairly tall. Even your mother.
I'm taller than Ezek.
Oh yeah, okay. All right. Well, they're taller than both of you.
Yeah.
Even your mother at full stature is having a hard time, or would have a hard time. But Kosh comes in smiling and brushing off snow. As you can see, it's been pretty heavily snowing that day. I'm glad I found you. I wasn't sure exactly where to look, but your mother had some pretty particular instructions about where I could. This was the last of them. She said to come here to ask about you. I didn't expect to find you here.
She probably wouldn't know. Nope, this is new.
Oh, well, it looks nice. I like the greenhouse. Liari's sort of wave. Kosh, right? Oh, yes, we met at the Mood, I think. I'll leave you two here. And there's a look your father gives you, which is, what a nice young man has just walked into our place, as he walks into the kitchen. I hope I didn't interrupt anything. I'm afraid I'm not here on great news.
What's going on?
Well, as you probably know, winter's dragging on.
Just a little bit.
More than a little bit. We've seen a lot of signs, and we've visited a lot of towns. Your mother's had a lot of us spreading out throughout the countryside. And it looks like the entire island is under much heavier snow than it should be.
I'm going to make sure this is recording.
All the...
Yes, okay. Cool.
Oh, are we still paused? Or are they good?
Oh, no, just me.
Oh, okay. All right.
Just me.
All right.
'Cause information.
We've been looking for signs of spring. There have been late snows before. I even remember one when I was a kid. It wasn't quite this long, but it happens. It's within living memory for most people. Philia put out the word a while ago, and your mother's been kind of spreading us out. We're worried. Spring is not coming. At least not for the foreseeable future.
Yeah.
And that's causing a lot of problems. Nobody can get across the High Bridge. Greyland is completely cut off from us now. I mean, we can get there. Some of us are able to fly, maybe someday. But for those of us who can't, we've been kind of sent across the land. And there's not a lot of caravans moving in. Not much food is traveling right now, and that's a problem.
Yeah,
the bridge to Bendra is completely shut down. The barges aren't moving at all. The ground there is frozen entirely, and the bridge is covered in ice. It's strange, but it's so steep no one can really climb over very well. A lot of horses have had some problems there. We spent a few days there just helping the horses. We can melt the ice in limited quantities, but it's going to be a while. So we're starting to gather up who can go, and we're starting to make what travel we can to try to bring some food. There's an oasis down to the south in Bendra.
I've been there.
You have? Good.
Yeah.
And there's a few other places we have to check into. But we're hoping to keep people alive. I wasn't able to get into Farhaven on my way. I think they're doing fine, but they didn't like my cousins coming in.
No, they wouldn't.
Kind of points towards the two who are there. And your father has brought out a tray of tea, and they're kind of looking at it. And Parda takes the cup, and his hand kind of engulfs this tiny little teacup, and he's very strangely kind of holding it there, and then sort of just tips it back very quickly. It tastes terrible. And the other brother just sort of goes, no, thank you. Looking at them now, and having spent so much time with Paul, you actually see a bit of a racial resemblance. Paul has a tanned skin, probably from a lot of time he spent in in Bendra. But these guys probably don't spend nearly as much time there, and you're getting this kind of grayish look to their skin. It doesn't look unhealthy, it just looks very, very light. You imagine it fits in with the snow very well. And there's sort of this a darker gray tattoo that Parda has over his chest. Kind of looks like a stylized wolf. And Kosh continues. So I was sent to find you to help this area. Like I said, I didn't expect to find you here. Your mother said there was some cabin. We found a cabin. Nobody was there. It's kind of cold.
I figured she would know about it.
So she said that this was our last place to look and ask about you, and well, here you are. We're basically sent out to try to help people. Crops are not going to be coming in for a while. Some of the caravans are going to take a while before they're going to come back. We're going to see what we can do. But in the meantime, get the food moving if we can. If you can still produce good berries, that's a good start, but
it's a good start.
people are going to need more than that.
Yeah, that they will. I would say while we're going around, teach people how to make greenhouses and teach people how to care for plants, for simple plants.
We can try some of that. It's going to be a little difficult to build some of the greenhouses, especially with the snow still flowing. And it's cold enough outside. This seems pretty warm in here, but I think you're probably burning quite a bit of wood, I think, to keep it warm.
Yeah, and we do have a large greenhouse that we maintain here.
You're actually in the greenhouse right now.
Yeah, so.
There's a familiar smell in the air that you remember from being a kid. And when you pointed at the fire, you kind of remember that smell. It's sort of an airy wood smell that's burning. But you realize that even when you were a kid, you didn't actually keep much of a wood pile. Yet the place always seemed to be pretty warm. I suspect your father made something.
Yeah, I think that's something that Daddy worked out, because we don't actually use a lot of wood here.
Well, maybe we can distribute some of that if it's possible, but...
We would have to talk to him.
Have you been back to Vatour or Waterstone recently?
Not since Festin.
Okay. I'm heading further south. If you could stop in at least on Waterstone. We've got some other folks in Vatour. I think Ferendra is there, if I remember.
Yeah.
And you do remember Ferendra, who was the druid who was working with Alexia.
The one that I raced.
Ferendril.
Yeah.
Was it Ferendra or Fenendra?
Ferendra.
Yeah.
Because it was Ferendra and Fernandril.
Yeah.
Anyway.
I realized also, too, as I was looking it up, that one of the two kids that Morden has is Ella. But it's not that Ella.
That's what I was saying.
To be clear, not that Ella, because I did not kill off the Morden family to bring that character
Too important.
And hopefully that's still going. Again, it's frozen over here. If every once in a while folks in the chat could just sort of post, yep, still seeing it, then that'd be great. Have you ever been to Pebwich Glen?
No, but I've been suggested to go there.
That's my next stop, so we're going to head out pretty soon.
Okay, I will join you, I guess.
Oh, that'd be great. You can show me along the way.
Yeah. Just let me get some stuff.
Sure. And he goes back out to the front, where your father's doing his best to entertain, but Pardo and Taro don't really speak all that much. Until he hits upon kind of trap making. It's surprising that they sort of come alive, where he's not made a lot of traps, but he has done a little bit, and Ezek can help out a little bit there. Oddly enough, if you were here, Milo would probably be the best to talk to the two of them. But they hold a bit of a conversation as you get ready.
Yeah. I go up, I empty my bag of holding of like everything that isn't needed, like any books.
I just imagine you overturn the thing, the room explodes.
Just on my bed, like.
It's like, I didn't even know I had that.
Pretty much. I keep clothes and simple stuff like that. Any weapons that I have. I pretty much empty the bag of holding out of the junk that I have.
Crap kobold daggers you picked up at one point?
I already dumped those.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, no, like, yeah, I keep like just the stuff that would be useful, like, yeah.
Okay.
Um,
We don't have to decide that in detail at the moment.
Yep.
As you're gonna get yourself ready.
So,
Uh,
I get out
Liari,
of the dress that I'm in.
going into your travel clothes.
Yeah.
When you come out, Liari there's sort of a laughter going around. They're all laughing and joking, and
I come out in full armor.
Kosh and your father have been talking, and you kind of catch the last little bit of it as talking a little bit about his experience through the other side, and Liari's eyes go a little bit wide. It's like, I had no idea it was like that. It's like, yeah, they told me it was a little different this year. Maybe next year I'll be able to fully commit to it. Oh, you're back. And Liari looks concerned because he sees you in your travel clothes.
Full armor, hair up.
Pretty much. And he just sort of walks through the crowd of them, and he kind of walks you into the kitchen. Are you leaving?
There's stuff going on.
There's always something going on.
Food isn't getting to the island.
Yeah?
And
You have to go?
it's what Mommy said.
I should have known.
So
You're following in her footsteps so quickly. It's like you've just grown up overnight.
13 years, but
Fair enough. You're coming back.
I'll be back. Apparently, I'm in charge of this area, so
Well, is that a promotion?
I don't know.
Well, you take care of yourself. Kosh seems nice. I'm sure he'll help you out. The other two seem scary and strong. I'm sure they'll help out.
I've traveled with their type before.
Ah, well, I didn't get a chance to talk to them much of the moot, and to be honest, I don't think I got a chance to talk to them much just now, but they don't seem to talk much, but they seem to follow Kosh, and that's good.
Yeah.
Do you know how they're related?
I don't know. Didn't say.
Okay. Kinfolk can be strange sometimes. Not everybody's related, I suppose. I mean, look at the ones you took with you. How are they doing, by the way?
I haven't really. I've talked to Amrûn a bit through like sending spells, but he's been in Farhaven.
Farhaven. Oh.
Yeah.
Making mad cash.
Yeah.
Reminds me, I should get to Farhaven again. It's been a while since I've seen Isanor.
Yeah.
She's a delight. Make an insight check.
Were Isidore and Snippet engaged or married or something?
They were a couple. I don't
Okay.
think it actually progressed much further than
10.
that. 10? Okay. There's a bit of wistfulness as he mentions Isanor's name. I probably hasn't seen her for a while. Well, he kisses you on the forehead, embraces you, and says, "Good luck, and come back when you can." And
Oh.
with that, basically, you're heading out. Ezek also kind of sees you in this gear, sees your father standing behind you, and just sort of sighs. How long this time, sis?
I don't know.
All right. Well, you know the routine. You come back. We find something to do, and we laugh about it later.
Probably. Hopefully. And I hug him, and whisper in Draconic in his ear to take care of Dad.
Always. And you set out for Pavlich Glen. We'll switch over now to Klaarg, who wanted to go find Zackis to explain him all the things.
Yeah.
Which is that week 3?
I don't know.
It's not going to affect your research schedule.
Okay, cool. That's all I care about.
It's not a date.
The only thing,
Are you sure?
the only thing we'll say is
What if we play your cards right?
the only thing we'll say is that it's not on the day where your brain was lost to the book.
Okay.
So
cool.
it's after. It's
It was
after
a
that
Tuesday, I
point.
believe.
No, well, you don't really know. Most
me.
of the previous 4 days disappeared. So, but yes, the people at the gate recognize you and take your request to see Zackis. And Zackis, you find one of the guards from the front gate has come to find you.
Yes.
That there is a half orc.
Klaarg, yes.
Here to see you.
I'll follow the guard.
Okay.
Kind of wondering in the back of my mind, it's like, has Klaarg paid that fine that he made me sign on? But that'll be a discussion for another time.
It hasn't paused since the
Yeah, apparently. So.
Onwards to the gate. Klaarg, greetings.
Hey,
How goes? I apologize about the theater thing. I lost sight of you.
no, it's fine. It all worked out.
Did you get the information you were looking for?
I don't know. You want to talk about it?
Yes, in my quarters, preferably, because
As you direct
Thank
them,
you for the
the
invitation.
guards open up the gates.
Yeah.
He's your responsibility then. If you
Yes.
can just fill out this form. It's a
what does the form say?
It's basically visitor is under your jurisdiction. You agree to be responsible for him, and all visitors must leave before midnight.
So if he fucks up, I fucks up.
Yeah, essentially, yeah.
Is that EP? Okay.
And that's a new thing. They hadn't signed in visitors before. They kind of let it on the people coming in, but now they seem to be tracking things a lot more closely.
This is kind of unnerving. What kind of security breach do we have here? Although I have my mild suspicion about doppelgangers, but it's like...
Are you going to ask the guard into this? Or
No, I'm just like thinking to
mildly
myself.
speculate in your
Yeah.
head? Okay.
I'm not saying this to
Zackis.
anybody.
They have maintained a pathway through the snow from basically the three main entrances, but the snow is piling up pretty heavily still. You note with, I don't know what your feeling would be, but you note that Holmara's group has not gone out. That's actually one of the jobs they've taken on, is to clear the grounds,
Okay.
which is kind of...
Beneath them.
It's very basic labor.
Yeah.
And, well, Homara's attitude is not exactly the most cheeriest at most of times. She seems to be barking orders to her people a little more than not. They still do fighting drills, though, and they've cleared off a part of the ground that they were using for that.
Okay.
But there is a pathway through, so you're not, like, trying to climb over snowbanks.
Yeah, it seems like this winter is never ending. So,
I presume you've returned back to your quarters at this point.
Sure.
these
From a little
plays...
pocket on his chest pops a little tiny head. You've met Prinna before.
Yeah.
Just kind of crawling out, pulls hands out. Oh, hello!
Hey, Prinna. How goes?
And waves at you. This
Did
tiny
you
little-
enjoy the play last time?
There was a play?
Yeah, you weren't there.
Oh, I guess I didn't notice.
Oh, yeah.
I get very tired being me.
Yeah, I didn't notice many things about the play either, but in any case,
For those who may not, I didn't actually say, Prinna is the sprite that lives in a pocket in Zackis' robe. His familiar. So, what's new? You look serious.
not too much. That's what I was hoping to find out.
Prinna kind of pops out of the pocket, starts fluttering over, lands on your shoulder.
So the last time we met, I stumbled into a bar. You were there, and there was a shadow, flesh, bone, something monster barging at the door.
Yeah. What
That
is
was- I have no idea.
it? Okay.
There was, I'll explain the druid mooch we went on, me, Amrûn, and Elzera.
Okay.
And
For
how
those
the wild
new
hunt-
to this whole thing, and including Jody,
Yeah.
why don't you actually explain a little bit of the druid mood and so forth?
Klaarg says, let's do the short version, please.
The druid trials, me, Amrûn, helped Elzera. Things happened. Magical tree on fire. I cast the spell magic. Blah blah blah. Something portal. Shadows came through. They're called the Wild Hunt.
Okay.
I love this.
Wow.
This is fine. I can digest it.
It's
This is
more
good.
condensed than I thought.
Prinna-
And all
Prinna's just kind of,
accurate.
This
watching
Wild
you.
Hunt, I thought
She's
it was
gonna
just going to be limited to the
Pop her
woods
head
around
up
the
on her,
druid. But-
on her chin, and she's listening to you going, I don't even know what happened.
You weren't there back then.
Oh, that would explain it.
Yeah. Anyway, these shadows came through some kind of portal, and we thought just, leaving them in the woods, that would be the end of it. It's a wild hunt. Hunt typically takes place in the wood. I just never gave it a second thought, and now we're back here, and they're showing up in town.
So you recognize them.
Yeah, and not only, they used to be shadows. Now they can... I'll tell you what I saw that day at the bar, right before I crashed into
Sure.
the door.
Ooh, it was terrible. Go on.
It was. Thank you for the
I mean, it was
magic.
huge. And all kind oh, sorry, go ahead.
Something... I heard screams. I went to investigate.
Screech!
There
She
was-
tries to sort of give you the sound effects to the story.
Thank you, C3PO. Sorry. I went to investigate and saw 2 guards mangled. And then...
She makes kind of this crazy shape, trying to represent 2 mangled guards.
Saw 2 mangled guards. I thought they were dead. There was a shadow on top of them, and the guards were moving and taking shape in an unnatural form, and they formed this horse or dog beast the size of a horse.
They also
So
formed
then I
formed a
ran.
man too. It was like a man and then a dog and then a man and then a dog. Like it couldn't make up its mind.
Exactly. It kept shifting. So the logical conclusion was that I ran into a bar.
You retreated specifically.
I strategically retreated. Yes, indeed.
That's right.
To a more secure location.
Which is
more-
where we met.
Yes.
Okay.
And the thing crashed through the door. You saw it. Your friend saw it.
I saw bits of it.
It was mighty, and it was banging away at the door. And
And it
Zackis
saw
said,
magic
"You will not
missiles."
come in." And then he went ba-boom, and it went ugh, and ran away.
What she said.
Yeah.
Okay. So magic hurts it then.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
Something hurts it. I don't think it died.
Okay.
What
No, it kind of
troubles
ran
me
away.
is that they used, when we've encountered them before, they were shadows. They were immaterial.
This one broke a door.
Exactly. They're taking shape physically and monstrously, if I might add.
Okay.
And it's the second time I've encountered them in the city.
So how
In
do I kill
Couture.
it? So how do I kill it?
I don't know yet. I haven't killed one yet.
Okay.
Brennan
I-
kind of looks at you and kind of flies over and sits on Zackis' head. You want to kill it? Like you hunt it? You want to hunt the hunt?
Well, yes.
That's kind of neat.
They're obviously dangerous and not of this place. They need to leave. By violent means, if necessary.
I'm glad we agree. So
I'm
I
glad we
agree
when
too.
do you want to get on that?
She pulls her tiny
I
little
don't know.
sword.
Okay.
I
Well,
don't
when
know.
you do, you let me know.
They seem to appear out of nowhere. I've been ambushed twice by them. Once I was with Miley,
Maybe not right now.
and I'll explain who Miley is. She's the submeister of...
I believe we were trying to fix that person.
Yes,
That
She's
tower somewhere.
mostly fixed.
Yeah.
I mean, she's recovering nicely.
Glad to hear it.
She's actually asked me on a date. It was awkward but enjoyable.
She better watch it. I don't know whether I haven't had a chance to check to see what she really means. But I'm gonna. And if she doesn't mean right, shing, she pulls the tiny little sword again.
I'm gonna shiver.
Essentially.
She was in our room several... I should introduce you to.
Okay.
I mean, what could possibly go wrong? I mean, I'm sure she doesn't. She doesn't
kind
have
of
that hard.
She kind of straightens her shoulders and flies out a little bit and is just sort of puffing with pride. Yeah, I can meet her. Sure.
Exactly.
And puts the sword away.
That'll be a thing for another time.
Klaarg starts to root around.
In what?
Around my room?
Is this mine? Is this mine? Is this mine? Is
Oh,
this?
right. Your things, yes. I'll
Hey,
pull out
hey,
all
no,
the
you
things.
can't. And Frinna's kind of flying around. She grabs onto one of the things you're holding onto.
No, it's
kind of
fine, it's
moves
fine.
with it when you move.
I was tasked by Klaarg to hold on to his things, which I've been doing.
Oh.
And he's retrieving his things right now.
Oh, I slept
So
through
whatever things I have of Klaarg, I forget like what the inventory was, but I'll pull out and give to you.
Klaarg will take most of the material things and leave most of the
that.
wall.
Is this one of his?
Yep.
And she points to the book that's kind of half dislodged from underneath the bed.
No, not the book. No. That's,
You
that
see
goes under.
this slate book that kind of gives this faint odor of blood.
This goes under here, under that. They put the mattress back on top.
She tries to push the book back in.
Put the
It's like,
smut
"Ew,
back on top of the book
ew,
to
ew."
dissuade any
Spreads it
intruders.
over the bedspread.
And that's
What
good.
is this thing anyway?
It's a book.
Oh, is that the one you were reading when you kind of went, no?
No, that was the other, that was the other book.
Oh. Okay.
We'll deal with that one later. That one's off limits for now. Let's mention nothing of it to anybody.
Oh, right.
Does-
Shh, don't mention it.
Exactly.
Does the book look familiar to Klaarg at all?
This late one?
Familiar.
He was there when.
But he
Yeah.
doesn't remember because it was a Feywild.
No,
That's
he,
true.
He was
I'm
there when
asking-
we divided up the books.
Yeah.
I'm asking
do-
for a different reason.
You recognize it when they were switching books back and forth.
I'm thinking about as far as thieves and assassins would be concerned. Does it
Ah.
look like a book that would be familiar to them? Mostly because it's made out of stone, which makes it mean to last, and it smells like blood.
Which book was that? Is that
Uh,
Zahalas?
no, that was the other one
That's
that I was
the
reading right now.
infernal one.
That's
No, that was the one without a title. That was something void.
oh, okay, right. The one about the souls.
I only need 3 more days.
It doesn't look entirely like that. You've seen books like that before, usually meant to keep the records of the chapter back, so they go back and they know the rules. It doesn't specifically look like any of those books. If you would examine it, maybe you'd be able to tell more.
Klaarg will shoot an eye at the book and then turn back to you.
Do I notice this?
Making it perception.
Klaarg doesn't hide it.
Make it an
18 plus
advantage.
2,
All right.
so...
Yep, you notice that he gives a stink eye to the book.
What about the book?
Smells funny.
Yeah, it smells like blood.
Tastes
I'll-
like blood too. Ew, ew.
Don't worry, it's
Just kind of
fine.
flying around the room, just like shaking your hand.
It's
You can
fine,
see
dead
little
blood.
little spots appearing on like the curtains.
No,
and-
don't do that.
Get it off. She
So,
splashes
I've been
into a
looking
pitcher
into
of
this
water
book,
that's
I've almost cracked its secrets. It's fine.
What's the general gist?
there.
It's the gist of somebody's trying to figure out where souls go after they die. And I figure if I can find its secrets, I can help Amrûn, because I believe he has the ability to bring people back.
Okay.
And this is something he'd like to learn, and for the greater good of our party and friends, this would be a good thing to have on our side.
Alright, well,
Our enemies do not want this.
I have
We do
one-
not want our enemies to have this.
I have one other big question and then I'll leave you be.
Yes.
Let you get back to your books. There's a fella here in town by the name of Corin Woodcomb.
Alistair's brother.
He's the brother of Alistair, a senator, counselor, or something.
Met him at the party, yes.
Yeah. Is there any chance I might be able to get a moment to talk with him? Some people you know?
Perhaps
Or
parents.
maybe get some information on him? See what he makes him tick? Maybe see if he's got any dark secrets. Anyway,
Judging by my experience,
if
if
it-
anybody is higher up in the hierarchy, then chances are they do have dark secrets. I just don't know how to...
just
he is a
ask a
friend.
question. If you don't have an answer, that's fine. But if you happen to discover anything, please let me know. I'd be happy to pay you for your information.
Make
No
a
payments need to be made.
we'll call it a history roll with advantage.
11 plus...
9, probably.
8. Oh, yes. 20, non-natural.
Okay. You've met Alistair on a number of occasions, and you feel like you're probably on even ground with him.
Yeah.
Asking him about his brother, that might be pushing it, but you do know that your parents are well connected.
Mm-hmm.
Just throwing that out there.
My family may be able to arrange something.
All right.
It would take much planning.
It's fine. It's not a big deal. I just wondered if you happen to know anything or know anybody who knows anything. We should
I
get to
feel like
getting
Alistair...
rid of your hunt first, though.
Yeah, the hunt is kind of a problem. And you mentioned gambling the other day, too.
Hmm?
You mentioned gambling the other day, too.
Yeah. We should go gambling sometime.
At some point. There is a place I've heard about that's... Alright. There is a friend I'd like to invite to come with me, though.
Sure.
Old friend, yeah.
Okay.
By that I mean not you.
No, like both. Like another friend. Like,
Oh, yeah.
along with us.
Oh.
Sure.
That's what I meant.
Okay.
Like, that's how I meant it.
Okay, sorry.
Okay.
It sounded like you were like, there's somebody I'd like to invite, it's not you. There's
But
a knock at your door.
Come in!
Klaarg will go find a nice corner, maybe around a... So he's not immediately obvious.
He doesn't have huge apartments, but if you kind of head around the four-poster bed, you can kind of hide behind
Sure.
the curtains there.
You hide behind a palm plant.
Klaarg's not actually just hiding, he's just kind of...
No, he's just sitting there, because, I mean, we're friends, we've adventured before, and it's been acknowledged by Alistair Woodcomb, by Alistair, and he's like the council member.
Oh yeah, yeah.
We're bros.
Sure. That's
How does
fine.
Klaarg feel
You
about
don't have to
that?
explain it to me. I'm fine.
No, I'm explaining to whoever's walking in.
Well, you see Miley open the door. And
Miley!
she's kind of walking in, kind of striding, already kind of half in conversation. I figured it out. I finally... Oh, I'm
Yes!
sorry. I didn't mean to interrupt.
No worries.
Um,
Millie, I believe you've met.
Klaarg, right.
Miley's my
She kind of puts
supervisor.
the book under her arm and extends her hand.
Klaarg will shake.
Okay. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt. I finally figured out this stupid book.
Excellent.
And she kind of throws the book down on the bed. I had to kind of read it backwards. It didn't make any sense any other way.
Yeah, I know.
There's an excitement in her voice that kind of that you can appreciate, kind of from having
Yeah.
finished that book as well. And both of you make an insight check.
Both of us?
Mm,
At advantage or no?
no advantage.
19.
19. Hey.
Okay.
You both catch on to the exact same thing.
You certainly do. While there's definitely excitement about the book, The more excitement was when she stepped through the door and wanted to tell you about the book, as in she really wanted to share. And there's also a sense that, and both of you saw her probably at her absolute lowest when you found her in the tower, and you had to kind of restrain her basically as she was going through the madness. You saw her at that point, and a lot of that has completely evaporated now. This project of learning has brought her back to herself in a way that you had both kind of hoped that she would return a little bit, but now it seems like it's in full fruition, and she seems like an entirely different person. But she does feel like she kind of stepped in the middle of a conversation and she didn't really mean to.
No worries.
I'll leave the book with you. I made my own notes. I don't
fine.
need it for the moment.
This is great. What do you think about it?
Pardon me. And Klaarg will put his cloak on and
Yes.
carry his stuff out the door.
No worries.
Nice seeing you again. And she says that. Or which book was it, by the way, that you had lent?
It was the World Below.
The Word Below.
Did you roll a 20?
No, actually, she did not.
Because all the things obscured in Sharpie are like revealed.
Yeah,
by a 20.
there's something about the book which is even stranger. And the end of that scene, we won't go through the entire motion of that, but she is apologetic. She feels like she did kind of walk in and you were discussing something already. But she quickly gets back to the enthusiasm.
Yeah, and that's okay.
And
I follow her. I
And
follow
the thing
along.
that she's wondering is like, so where do you think it was?
I don't know. Where the entrance to this Underdark area?
Yeah. I've never heard of anything like this before.
So-
That's exciting. I've been reading books as long as I can live. I've read as many as I can get in the library, and many of them I didn't really care to read, but I've read some of those anyway. This had something new. You know how long it's been since I've encountered something really new? Something good? I mean,
Is
okay,
it-
sure, there's a lot of torture and
Yeah.
it has a really rough life, and
But
but
it's good to find new knowledge, but
I want to know where this is.
so do I. If I ever find any leads, I'll be definitely sure to let you know.
All right.
If
Like
you-
I
if
said,
you
I've
find
got my
leads-
notes, but I can't see anything more in the book. But
I've checked this against the library records, and I couldn't find anything.
yeah, so did I.
It's
It's going to be a new entry in the index.
excellent.
I haven't done one of those in a while.
They can help.
No, I interrupted. I can handle this. Don't worry about it.
Don't worry, don't feel bad. Like
You
if
got to
anything
get back
needs-
to work anyway. We've gotten a few more books in. We need some cataloging done.
Oh, from where?
There was a wagon that came in, mostly with food, and they had like a small box of books.
Where did they come from?
A Quain, it said, but there wasn't any label on it.
Queen. Were any of the books from Tarsel's Tower by any chance?
I haven't had a chance to look at them yet. You think they might be? And she
I
looks
have no
extraordinarily excited at that opportunity.
Whenever I
I-
hear a Queen, I think Tarsel's Tower because it's pretty much the only place I spent time at and actually cared for.
I wonder. I'm gonna go check. Have a good one.
Will do. Let me know what you find.
And she's
I'll check it
like,
tomorrow.
practically running at this point. For some reason, that connection hadn't been made to her. Probably because
Correct.
she was still studying the other book, and it's like, oh, I've got some more things to do. But this is new and exciting, and I found.
Hey.
So
It's 30 copies of the book that woman wrote. Who
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Yeah, and who wanted to put, copies in the library?
If I get 30 copies of her
They're
fanfic, I'm
all
gonna go nuts.
autographed.
So that's a funny suggestion, and terribly close to the truth.
Oh, no. I don't know that as a player.
It is, well, you will find out very quickly
Okay.
as you get down to your office eventually.
Do I get to
And-
make rolls on the Void book still? Because
Yes.
it's week 3.
Yes,
Okay,
but
so-
just to finish this particular narration
Yes.
of what you find, it is indeed, it was the letter aside from Musgrave. And it is 10 copies of her book, and then she's put in a copy of a draft of a new book she's working on, which is, to put it more bluntly than she did in the title, her title is much more elegant and I can't think of it at the moment, but essentially when you decipher the title, it's I Can Be an Elf and So Can You. And as you recall, her fascination, perhaps even obsession with elves,
She's the OG fangirl.
she is absolutely over the top a fangirl of elves, and had in the previous book, the one that she sent you now 10 copies of, because you did say you could put it in the library. They're all individually signed, by the way. There's one individually signed to you specifically, but she misspelled your name. She left out the C in Zackis. But I'm kind of lost on my own thought for a moment there. But yeah, the draft of the new book is kind of looking at magical ways to transform yourself. One of the ones mentioned, and I'll give you this for free, is kind of as already mightily so disappointed this book has left it on your desk, left the whole crate on your desk, and specifically one book that's sitting out is the one that's not only autographed but autographed specifically to you. And you kind of get the impression it's left out as a WTF kind of moment.
I have that like twice in my notes so
Yeah.
far in the last
But
minute.
the one thing that kind of sticks out is you're kind of glancing through her notes, and her notes are all over the place. How her other book ever turned into something which is at least coherent is beyond you. And you're kind of flashing back to all the notes and margin notes that Tarsal Praxis has made his copy of her book. But there's one thing that stands out, strangely enough, and that is a mention that there is at least one way that I know of, but it is neither certain nor easy to achieve. It is through the death and rebirth cycle that the Druids profess. How we can perfect this to allow a specific outcome is beyond my knowledge, but I'm determined to find out.
Oh dear.
God.
I'm like hating myself for like actually being nice to her when I met her in Aquain. Like,
She's a bit of an odd duck, you might
Yeah.
say.
so Miley left this on my desk as
Kind of like, I saw this, I guess this is for you. And, yeah. Probably leaving a bit more deflated than when she found it.
there's like more. This is like a fucking library drama.
All right, Klaarg.
Yeah.
Let's continue on with you a little bit.
All right.
Can I do my rolls for week 3?
Okay, yeah, we'll do the rolls real quick. We only have about 15 minutes
Oh,
left, technically. So
Week
why don't we
4.
do the rolls after the game? We can just read them
Yeah.
with no
Okay.
narration. That way we don't spend the time online. But just remind me before we're completely done. So we'll do the bit here with Klaarg.
Sure.
What are your next steps, Klaarg?
Klaarg would like to see about doing some more study on Corn Woodcomb.
Okay.
The idea is to get some dirt on him for leverage. Failing that, looking into the connection to his brother and what his brother might be able to bring to bear in Klaarg's behalf.
Okay.
Klaarg having been partially responsible for the saving of the city not long ago.
It's true, and he did hold you in high regard. Granted, your appearance at the party was perhaps less than politic, you might say. Having tried to release your weapon when it was peacebound. Okay, how do you want to go about doing that? What would you like to start to try to do?
Mostly
Are you looking for rumors? Are you looking
Yeah.
for business partners? Are you looking for...
probably rumors, I
Okay.
guess.
Okay. Let's start with an investigation roll,
Alrighty.
as you kind of go around town trying to presumably subtly inquire.
Yeah.
Okay. That will make it a little harder,
This
but
is week 4.
Yes.
you get the most accurate track of count, or track of weeks. But yes, it should be the last week in that month, because it was the week that he's heading down to Batur.
11 to get a clue.
11 to get a clue. Okay, it takes you several days of kind of hunting around, and people have generally really positive things to say about Corn Woodcomb.
Okay.
Stellar businessman. He is known to have helped people out of problems before. There's strong indication that if his brother ever left the council, he would be the one to replace him.
Okay.
There's an indication that he does a lot of business, perhaps one of the largest amounts of business on in Batur, especially on the north side. That strikes you as a little odd,
Okay.
because if he does that much business, while this is a sizable amount that's being owed, it's not that big. 1,200 gold pieces is a lot to an individual like yourself, but to a successful businessman, that's a profit margin for a single cargo easily. So why he has this outstanding debt, you're not sure. That doesn't make any sense. Bazo, do you ask Bazo about this? Because you did kind of keep it separate before.
Yeah. He did ask about him, actually, just to see what he knew about him.
Okay.
And that's how we got the connection to the brother.
Right, right. As you
So-
go back to him for more detail, or...
Yeah, I suppose. Maybe armed with the knowledge that he's a bigger fish than the debt that's
Mhm.
asked of him, although Klaarg won't mention the debt specifically.
Okay. Not mentioning the debt or not mentioning the amount?
No, not the amount or the debt. Just
Okay.
that he's a successful guy. He must.
Why would he owe a small favor kind of thing?
Why would he owe somebody?
Okay.
Especially if it was a pittance and not pay it.
Well, that sounds very strange. Corin generally tries to manufacture an aura of absolute perfect businessman. Absolutely does that all the time. The aura is very well manufactured. But he's had a few fallouts here and there. He's hired a few people, perhaps, to make sure that competitors' goods don't even make it to market. That's only a story. I haven't any proof of that.
Okay.
But for something like a small debt, is there something you want to bring up before we get too far?
Because like after our conversation, I'd asked my family like a few days later, whenever I got together with them, what they know about Corin Woodcomb.
Okay, bring that up a little bit after that. You can bring that back to him later on. But small favors are owed by everyone, no matter how powerful you are. In fact, the smallest of favors can be the difficult ones to pay off. You have to be careful about things like that, you know. Word will get around that you either are easy to pay small debts, or the debt itself is a danger. I'm assuming, pardon me, I happen to know that you are a debt collector.
Yeah.
I've noticed the box. I carry one myself, as you know.
As I understand it, Corin has a debt outstanding to the Kingfisher messenger service in Aquain. And
he has a sizable debt to the Kingfishers, eh?
not sizable, but
Small
enough that it's not gone unnoticed. And I'd like to collect with as little trouble as possible. Maybe you can provide some assistance.
Well, I wouldn't want to step on Kingfisher business. The Rose and Thorn tries to keep its business very, very straight, and it doesn't look good on anyone if you start to cross over. So I can't directly help you at all. But if you're looking to put some leverage on Corin, depending on how quiet you want to be, he does love his family, as any good, upstanding citizen does. He also loves his lover, as any understandably underhanded person might. I could probably point you in the right direction there for the wrong direction. Little Freudian slip there.
Oopsies.
I can probably point you in the right direction there. By the way, how is it going with the little matter that I asked you for?
It's in the works.
Good.
I had someone look into something for me, and I haven't had anything back yet.
Well,
But I will be heading over to the theater. Is there any tickets you want me to pick up while I'm there?
sadly, it seems like the company has gone completely tits up since Illic was found, shall we say, indisposed. I hear there's another company opening up. Illic had a few people waiting in the wings. One, Harriet Bramble, who I understand picked up a lot of his notes. A halfling. Underhanded type, but generally a decent actress, if you don't mind long-winded explanations. She seems to specialize in those.
She seems like an interesting person. Maybe I'll go pay her a visit today.
Might not be a bad idea.
If you need anything else, I'll be around. Otherwise, I'm going to take my leave.
Oh, I mean, that's all I was concerned with for the moment. Are you keeping up well with your interests?
So far, I have another one. I'm looking to procure a gift.
A gift?
Yeah.
What nature of gift, and who might you be wishing to give this to?
I'm looking for rare plants, amber, magical what's it or other. Maybe some books, possibly jewelry, maybe some shiny rocks.
Wow.
The stuff.
Does it have to be pre-owned?
Doesn't need to be, but it doesn't have to not be.
There are a number of interesting things that people have collected over the time in the city.
No
I'm
doubt.
sure I can point you to a few places where you might acquire a gift or two. The cost shouldn't be too high, especially with a man of your skills.
All right. I would be happy to secure you a small fee for that sort of information.
Well, maybe a portion of the bounty would be sufficient.
Sure. That sounds good.
I'll make a few inquiries and get back to you.
All right. Thank you.
No, always a pleasure, Klaarg. Always a pleasure.
I gotta go. Busy.
As you must.
And Clark will end the meeting.
All right. Meeting over.
Yeah.
Best of luck.
Yeah. There's a few irons and a few fires, so I'll let you decide that.
Okay. Yeah, I'm gonna have to get back to you on those elements just to get those in going again.
Yep.
Let's make one last scene with Amrûn. It's going to be my tag scene for tonight. However, you were going to ask your parents about Corin.
Yeah.
Why don't we hold that off for next week?
Okay.
If that's okay with you. Was there anything last minute you wanted to do, or just setting out for Pabwich Glen?
That would probably be it. Yeah.
Okay.
Can I still do like the rolls?
I try to like.
We'll do those
Yeah,
after
we'll
the
do that
recording.
afterwards.
Yeah, just so we're not tying that time up.
No worries.
I do during the entire time I'm there. By the way, actively try to avoid Milo.
Okay. It's not hard. He's actually not in town that often.
Yeah.
He's really spending most of his time around it.
I do take the bear and the raccoon with me.
Okay. You will probably want to give them names. Because they don't really have names of their own.
Yep, I will figure stuff out this week.
So more rogue raccoon to come.
Caitlin, help me.
The one thing I'll leave you with on your particular side is just that the snows do make it very difficult travel. In particular because while you and Kosh could be able to surge ahead, in order for Parda and Taro to keep up, you do kind of have to lag a little bit behind, but it's not a bad idea to keep them with you. As even once you leave the sanctity of the town itself, there is a noticeable shift. In fact, strangely, it feels like a magical shift as you leave the boundaries of the town and head out into the outskirts towards Pabwich Glen. A feeling almost as though the cold gets colder, the dark gets darker, and there are more moving shadows on the periphery of your vision. For you, you've packaged everything up.
There's one thing I remembered that I wanted to just before we head out. I go to the beer guy.
Ah, yes, Gort.
Gort.
Yes.
Blackhammer.
Gort Blackhammer, for those of you at home, the giant dwarf, or dwarf giant. He's got dwarven heritage, or so he claims, but he stands, what, 8-9 feet tall, I think?
He's got some good dwarven.
And he's got some incredible dwarven brew, magical brew, in fact. What can I do for you?
Well, I'm about to make a trip down to, starts with the V, Vitor. There we go.
Leaving the city? Why, is it getting to you finally? I know I've wanted to wander out once in a while. Just wander out in the snow and stand there.
I have places to be, plus Valencia's not exactly happy with me right now, so happier.
I heard all about at least some form of standoff. Not often that people walk away from that. I think she might have been keeping up appearances for all the people on Main Street.
But I thought, as I was heading out, I mean, funds are getting a little tight. I thought I might do a little trade, see if I could buy some of your best stuff and sell it when I get to Vitor.
Well, you know, I made pretty good money off the Festin beer that I sent down. Apparently it went better than I thought.
Oh, yes.
But, you had some?
In a way, yes.
What way? Is there more than one way to drink a beer? I really want to know.
I gather you're not intended to chug it.
You what? Oh no.
Zackis drank a beer and fell on his face once, but
I would think that the reputation of my beer would hold up a little bit stronger than that. It's after all, beers tends to be a little stronger than that too.
I normally just drink water, but
Well.
there was a contest and I won, and the person that lost decided to treat me to a big mug of of the stuff that you sent down for winter.
Ah, that was the fire brew, wasn't it?
Yes.
Ah, yes. A little something extra in that one. Keeps you warm during the winter.
Yeah. It was quite useful, but
Useful. I hope it tasted good.
I'm not exactly a beer connoisseur, but we kind of got into
There's
a
hope
fight.
for you yet. He slaps you on the back and kind of unconsciously end up moving forward a little bit.
I'm an acrobat. I just do a forward flip.
Thorn flies off your shoulder, actually. And we haven't mentioned Thorn up to
Yes.
this point. We
Thorn.
should mention Thorn.
My little silver and gold pseudo-dragon.
That's right. You're familiar, strangely enough, through a very convoluted set of experiences we won't describe here.
Yes.
We have a cleric who has a warlock familiar. Yeah. But yes, kind of flies off and kind of just roosts on top of one of the big brewing barrels he has there.
So I thought, since nobody down there has had a taste of your stuff in about 4 months, it might be a little profitable to take some down.
Well,
I don't
if you
know
think
how-
you can get through,
Oh, I can get through. I'm pretty sure of that.
well, you probably have something. How big a batch were you thinking?
It couldn't be too big. I've already got 6 people traveling on the sledge with me, but I figured maybe a couple of small kegs or something.
I can probably do that. I'm running a little low. At the end of the season, I have a few less grains than I intended to have, and the snow has been making me wonder when I'm going to get more. To be honest.
Yeah, it's pretty bad out there, but I intend on getting through, and I often succeed at what I intend on doing.
Well, that's a good attitude to have. I'm sure that I can take a few. Business has gotten a little slower. People seem to be, I don't know. They should be drinking. They're sad enough, but no, they're deciding not to. Holding back or something. But I think I can make a bit of coin off of this.
I'm sure that if the winter continues on long enough, people get depressed enough and start drinking again.
Well, I ran into the fire brew a long time ago, I'm afraid. But,
yeah.
I have some of the other ones. Dream Mist, I think, will go very well.
Sure.
Fields Folly might work too. I'm not sure.
Oh, sure. I mean, I'll
Your friend Zach seemed to like it.
Zackis.
Yes, he seemed to like it.
Good. I got about. Oh shit! I'm gonna have to pay 100 gold to leave the town. I don't remember if I actually put that in with my funds or not. Well, I can buy about 150 gold worth. If there's
is that all?
Sadly, that's all the money I've got on me.
Well, one of the smaller kegs then. All
Yes.
right.
I've
I could.
gotta have funds to leave the town with.
I could trust you. I think if I gave you a larger one to reimburse me the cost later.
Sure. I mean, do you have any outlet or agent that works with you down in
Not
Victoria?
yet, no. But you'll be back in Farhaven again.
Oh yes, in about 2 months.
2 months I can probably swing. Let me get you one of these. We kind of moves from the keg, which is about this big, which would be 150 keg, to one about this big, the size of a large trunk. This one's about 700.
Okay.
You'll make a tidy profit, and when you have the money, come back to me. I trust
Sure
you.
thing.
I will have you sign something, but I
Oh,
trust you.
certainly. I'll sign whatever form he's
It's
got
kind of
for
a
it.
simple trade agreement, basically.
Yeah.
An IOU.
Yeah, I will make absolutely certain that his money gets to him, and thank him, and then I'll head off just
Okay.
because money's getting a little low, and I realize there's one thing I need to buy before I get a coin.
He actually delivers it himself. He comes with you, and he
Sure.
just tucks this massive keg under the arm and walks through town with it. The rest of the group have kind of gathered and just sort of chatting among themselves when they see the gigantic form of Gort Blackhammer walking through, and they all kind of move aside as he just, not even telling people to get aside. They can see the trajectory of the large barrel coming onto the back.
Somehow, when Ella was doing the packing, she left a keg-sized area open.
Not exactly, but all of the really hard cases are in the middle.
Yeah.
There's no particular shape, but the harder cases that would support the weight are actually there.
Yeah.
Nobody's getting their luggage out anytime soon, so you may have a few issues there.
The booze is more important.
We get some tents and such. Other than that, yeah,
He bends down and looks straight at little Ella.
So, are you going too then?
Yes.
Well, good travels then.
And he kind of ruffles her hair, and her head kind of disappears in his hand for a moment as he ruffles her hair and stands up.
Good travel to you all.
And good afternoon to you. I will see you hopefully in 2 months.
I look forward to it.
And then I'll head out.
Okay. Each of the others, with the exception of Ella and Excellence, are able to pay their own way out.
Okay.
They do not charge Ella. They know who she is.
Yep.
And Excellence looks rather disturbed about kind of having forgotten this part herself. And
Okay.
Arzen actually pays for her.
Cool. Okay. Right.
And she's like, "Thank you very much. I forgot about this strange custom.
Yes, they don't mind if you come in. They hate if you leave.
It's a nice place. I'm kind of hating leaving, but I'm looking forward."
Yeah. Yeah. No. Yeah. I'll pay my 100 for it.
Okay. And they open up the inner gates. You do the transaction there. They open up the outer gates, and the whistling wind blows in very, very cold. They very quickly shut the inner gates because that would blow all the way through. And you see out in front of you barely a track. It doesn't look like a wagon has probably come through or anything's come through here for a few days at least. You can see the wide expanse of the tree line below you, only barely in small little bits uncovered from the snow, and it seems to have been constantly going. You can see that there are trees that are, the very, very tall trees, the tips of them are bending in towards the road, in fact, threatening to fall upon them.
Yeah.
You set out in the sledge. The horses shiver a bit, but you can see that the two brother and sister have put blankets on them already.
Yeah.
For
That's one thing I would have on the sledge is bunches of blankets.
Yeah. And you set out on the travels. Describe the sledge. We were talking. I'm thinking like Christmas sleigh kind of thing.
Effectively, I'm imagining something even a bit more cruder than that. It literally is just a wagon, sort of like, say, like bigger than a cart, but one of those wagon things, but with just big wooden skis, effectively on the bottom, or skids, would be what they are. And then it's attached to the horses are attached to it the same way they would be to a wagon, but it just has the big runners that are smooth and that.
Okay. And there's no covering on this particular one. It's an open topped.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just bought a simple one.
Probably with a simple bench up front, and then just the open space in the back where people are kind of ranging around the luggage.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. People can sit down in it. There's probably some hay in it as well, for seating purposes. But
they're all sitting in the back, kind of leaving you up there. It's a little bit more covered from the wind, in fact, when they're back, and there's a little more sides, kind of gathering around.
Fine. I've got the big black and silver.
It's true.
The pimp coat.
Pimp coat.
You do the one you got from the Bendrins when you fixed the guy's foot. Inside that you feel great. It's a little bit like, it's a shame that you don't have a mask to wear with it because there's a bit of wind that blows across your face.
Not great boots of the Winterland.
Enough heat coming off of this though that you're almost sweating inside. And the energetic you give to the horses is genuine. Make an animal handling roll as you start to descend, however.
Oh, thank God it's an advantage because I rolled a 1 in one of the dice. Let's see, 16, and that's wisdom, so 19.
Okay. As you're going down, you can feel that while it is soft, powdery snow on the top part, where the wagons have come in and where the sledges have come before, it is kind of turned to ice underneath.
Yeah.
The horses do struggle a little bit, and you kind of have to slow them down to keep it at an approachable pace. But you are making time. However, at this rate, it's going to take you 3 days to get down the hill. Whereas normally it'd be 1 if it was good weather, it was 2 in the rainy weather, and now it's going to be 3 because of the snow.
Yeah, I was figuring on that.
At the end of the first day, presumably you're setting up some sort of camp. There are a couple places where you can pull off along the side of the road.
Yeah, we'd probably scoop out some snow. I'd have shovels there as well.
Yeah, make a survival roll, just for fun.
Yeah, that's one thing I don't have much in. I got an 11,
Okay.
thankfully, total.
Between yourself and, in fact, where are they here? Taylor, who seems to have a little bit of outdoors experience.
Yeah.
You do manage to get kind of banked up walls to get you at least out of the wind a little bit.
Yeah.
Do you have a cantrip for fire at all?
I have a cantrip for radiant, but not fire.
Yeah, radiant doesn't give you any heat.
Nope.
So there's, let's see if Taylor. Oh, hey. Taylor's able to put together a small fire. Some of the brush and trees that have fallen over, just kind of pulls a couple of those, hack those down.
Yet again, I misprestidigitation.
That's true enough. And you kind of gather around the fire and settling in for the evening. And it's getting tiresome. You've been on the road for trying to push it for a while. You've been on the road all day, even though you haven't made it that far. And the rest are all kind of going to sleep. And you're starting to get into your meditation. And
Yeah, I've got the horses extra blanketed and such, so they're not. And they'd be. I mean, if we have enough people to do it, I'd probably actually tip the sledge up on one side for a windbreak.
Except you got it loaded with gear.
Oh
in the
yeah.
barrel, so
Well, all the fish and bread goes away.
that's true.
But yeah, like each
if
of
we
them has
could,
a trunk.
Yeah.
yeah, like if we just kind of take the small trunks and the keg out.
It's difficult to take the
What
keg
the-
off. It would be something where like 3 or 4 people would be needed to carry that thing.
Yeah, I mean we've got 6 people here, and one of them is unnaturally strong for
Okay.
a small girl.
So you kind of organize that to pull it off. It actually the barrel itself practically serves as a
Yeah.
protection. Although you don't want to slosh it around too much
Yeah.
because it will make it go flat. And you're sitting there for your meditation. You've carved out a little spot for the evening, and you're starting your meditation, and you hear beside you a familiar female voice.
No.
Running away or running to? And the voice you do recognize as the humanoid form of Hoarfrost.
Mm.
Sitting there, wearing a normal set of clothing, not wearing winter clothing at all. But
Yeah.
holding her hands out to the fire as if admiring it and enjoying the warmth.
Well, not running, but heading to. Yes.
It's rather slow with all this winter, isn't it? I really
Yes.
like it, though.
I imagine you would. You aren't behind this, are you?
No, greater powers than even mine are behind this.
That's what I thought.
Some of the sisters, I think, are stirring. Not my sisters.
Hmm.
Those I know well where they are, and aren't in some cases. No, this is bigger than most of what I've been dealing with.
Wouldn't be the Pluxian sisters.
That's true. You do know a bit of the legends, don't you?
Some, yes.
If only you knew more. Going
Another
live.
4 hours.
Okay. Looks like we're back live again, and I've got moving video. I say that, and then immediately it stops. Ha!
Hey.
Dun, 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 dun.
So, hopefully everybody gets a chance to move over to this side of the video and see the second half. There's only one scene left. We are running a little longer than we tend to do anyway. In fact, I'm trying to remember where I was now. I kind of lost my train of thought.
Hoarfrost was making creepy "Do you want knowledge" offerings.
Right.
I tell her, well, that would depend on the cost.
It always depends on the cost. What you're willing to give in exchange for what you need.
Mm.
You know, it strikes me that the centaurs have a similar relationship with that sort of thing.
Well, we did run across one band that demanded knowledge in exchange for moving through their territory.
They demand something for what you need. It seems like a fair trade most of the time. What would you be willing to offer for more knowledge? What do you need for your nascent church to grow?
To be honest, I don't know. I'm very new at this, and I've never been trained, so there's probably things I don't know about.
That's true. There are many things you don't know about.
As for what I could give, I'm afraid I don't have much right now.
Oh, we always have things.
Yes, but not that I'm willing to trade.
That's a shame. Let me give you this for free. There were 7 sisters, but only 6 are known now. Moreover,
Interesting.
they'll want you to choose a side. I thought you had, but I see that's not true.
No. I know a little of how things were before. Hopefully, well, I'm getting along with Silestra currently, but I suspect that another of the sisters may not be so open to communicating with me.
Oh, I think they'll want to communicate, but it might not be in the way you like.
Well, I talked with a possible servant of one, and they didn't want to talk to me anymore. That's where I was going with that. I understand that, yes, there are 6, or possibly 7, powerful entities that might be waking up and want to do things with the church that I don't necessarily agree with. That's why I refer to this as the new Church of Phylexia.
Breaking with tradition to find your own new traditions. How do you know that
Yes,
she
sure.
will like that?
I asked her.
Ah.
She said yes. Well, I asked if I was doing okay. She said yes. So I'm good with that. I'm assuming that she will show me if she's unimpressed with what I'm doing.
Maybe we can do something before it gets to that level. Because I suspect, as gods are often, she may be fickle.
Yes, but that is something I will have to think on.
I hope you have the time, and I hope that your followers here don't decide that maybe following someone a little warmer might not be a good idea.
If they wish to change, then they may change.
You're going to have to change your attitude to keep them.
Well,
If
I
you
don't think so.
If you don't demand, people will not give you things, and you need a lot from them.
I hope to give a lot to them.
An exchange goes both ways. You will need
It
something
can.
from them to give them something.
Possibly. We'll see how that goes. But if their choice is to leave or simply not join my church, that is their decision. I am not here to make people's decisions for them, except possibly Zackis when he's had a hard day.
Yes, I do hope to look in on the dear boy soon. That's an investment that's worth keeping up with.
I would say so. I would also say watch what you do with that investment, or we may have to have a less civil conversation. And no, I don't think that I am all that. Just some things have to be done. Some people have to be protected.
Oh, he's been protected for a long time.
I understand that.
My investment runs very deep. I'll leave you
Interesting.
and she just vanishes into nothingness. Yes, they were very crunchy foods just a few moments ago.
Sorry.
That was hilarious.
I was getting them like over here.
I could. It was amazing.
I didn't even notice them.
You know, stealth doesn't work when you yell out stealth.
You're still chewing.
With that, I think we'll call it to a close for the evening. Thank you very much to those who have joined us. We actually had one more person kind of join in later just to see what it was all about. We will be trying to do this on a regular basis and get into a regular routine. Now that we know that apparently 4 hours is a maximum for a particular video, we may split the video during the break and do it that way. It also might make it a little easier to manage all the rest of the stuff. We don't know. As always, if you have any comments, like I said before, about how this worked out, what it looked like, what the sound is like, we're doing this with bare budget. I have 3 webcams that are set up, so we have this nice little multiple camera
Don't
effect.
we just turn it?
No,
No.
well, we'll do like a behind-the-scenes video or something, I guess, if people really want to know. We have just the microphone on one of the cameras currently, which is being used to capture all this. It seems to be okay. There were some comments about some sporadic static. I'm not sure what that was all about.
But if this was of interest, if this was fun, let us know. And especially, I'm curious about conversations like the one I was having with Pat just now, because we were facing each other, and I want to make sure that people kind of get it. I think that people saw you a little bit turned away, so we may try different camera options. I can do all kinds of fun things with this program, so I'm going to do as much as I can. Any last words, folks, before we head out?
I apologize for the chewing.
You know, there was recently a poll put up on one of the podcast sites saying, like, what is your biggest hatreds about podcasts? And number 5, I think it was, or number 4 was chewing on a podcast. So we'll try to get softer foods or figure out ways that we can like pre-milk all of our snacks or something later. Anyway,
I found that pointing this way points directly towards the GM on the screen.
People seem to like the layout. I'm very happy for that. So that's gonna be it for us tonight, folks. Have a great evening, and we'll see some of you at least next week.